Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if depressed Naruto is kidnapped by Itachi and trained by Akatsuki part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. 1 week had passed since Naruto and the others had brought back Sasuke. Naruto stared at the comatose boy resting in the bed with an unusually unreadable expression. Sakura and Naruto had taken it upon themselves to take turns watching Sasuke throughout the week, though the distraught girl was incredibly reluctant to let Naruto even get within 5 feet of Sasuke. He thought back to the day after they returned and Sakura's hateful glare. "What did you do to Sasuke-kun, Naruto?" Sakura screamed. What? Naruto took a step back, surprised at his teammate. "The doctors say that Sasuke-kun could be in a coma for weeks, months, or even." Sakura hesitated, fearing her own words. "Or even years. What did you do to him?" Naruto gulped and took a deep breath. "I was just keeping our promise. I had to do it. To bring him back." "You promised me you'd bring him back, but I didn't ask you to kill him in the process." Naruto was confused. What was he supposed to say or do? What should he have done? Sasuke nearly became a missing nin. It had taken all Naruto had to bring Sasuke back alive. Naruto clenched his fist silently. Why couldn't she see that I wanted to bring back Sasuke alive just as much as she did? Why? "Get out of here, Naruto." But. "Just get out," she screamed, glaring at Naruto. Turning away, she murmured, "Please, I don't want to see your face right now." The next day he came to see Sasuke. Sakura was there. She greeted him with a sad smile, but Naruto could easily see behind the mask. She still blamed him. She still hated him. She never did apologize. Naruto's eyes became sad as he stared at the floor. Why, he thought. I tried my best. The villagers of Konoha had been less receptive of Naruto's return. Not that he expected any thanks from them in the first place, but it seemed to him that they hated him even more, as if it was his fault for Sasuke, Neji, and Choji's conditions. That it was his fault for Sasuke turning to Orochimaru in the first place. His fault that Kyuubi killed their friends and family. He remembered one of his birthdays, the day of his birth, and the day of Kyuubi's attack. Look at that monster, smiling as if he doesn't have a care in the world. Doesn't he care that today is the day of remembrance for the lives that were lost in that fateful battle? Ha! Of course not. After all, he was the one that killed them. That demon brat, he should just die and rot in hell. Sure, he's coming over here. Let's pretend we don't see him. How could they be so cruel to a boy of only 6 years old? Did they truly expect him to know all that? No. They didn't expect anything of him except to continue being the demon they all believed he was. The Sasuke incident was simply yet another thing to blame him for. Naruto raised his gaze to Sasuke, hatred clearly in eyes. I hate you, Sasuke, Naruto thought. I hate you for what you have, what you did, and what you have become. I hate you because you're everything that I'm not. His fist clenched tighter, as he felt tears well up in his eyes. I hate you because we're friends, you bastard. Why did you betray us? Why did you turn your back on us? Why? He heard footsteps coming. Quickly, Naruto composed himself. Hi Sakura-chan, he said, trying to hide the depression in his voice. Naruto hesitated on adding the suffix. He no longer had a crush on Sakura. He would have given anything to have things the way they were before Sasuke left. They were at least friends then. Now it seemed Sakura simply tolerating his presence. How is he? The girl immediately asked. Naruto shook his head. Ugh. Sakura and Naruto's eyes widened. The moan had come from Sasuke. Sasuke-kun? Sasuke-kun, are you all right? Sakura asked, hope in her eyes. She had her hands gently on his shoulders. After a few more moans, Sasuke slowly sat up from his resting position. Sakura was barely holding in her tears. Oh, thank goodness you're awake. A smile slowly made its way onto Naruto's face. Sasuke. Instantly, Sasuke tensed. Naruto could feel the temperature in the room drop rapidly. Sasuke turned his eyes to Naruto with an emotionless expression. Naruto. Sakura nodded with a smile. That's right, that's Naruto. He saved you from Orochimaru, just like he promised me he would. I'm so glad you're safe. Naruto color gradually came back to Sasuke's eyes. The color of red. Naruto. In a ferocious motion, Sasuke lunged from his bed and gripped onto Naruto's throat, squeezing as hard as he could. Naruto had panicked look as he stared Sasuke back in the eyes, half fearful, half sad. As Sasuke. Sasuke, stop it! Sakura cried out. She hugged him from behind and tried to pull him back. It's all right now. You don't have to fight anymore. You're back with us. At Konoha. The grip on Naruto's throat slowly eased up until he dropped Naruto on the floor, letting the boy gasp for air, coughing. Sakura, still holding on to Sasuke, told Naruto, "You'd better leave until Sasuke comes to his senses." Naruto merely nodded and heading for the door until 3 words froze him in place. "I hate you," Sasuke growled venomously. "Why? Why?" Naruto gritted his teeth and ran from the hospital as fast as he could, Sasuke's voice still fresh in his mind. "I hate you." Days had passed. Sasuke now seemed fully recovered from his mental injuries. Sakura told him that Sasuke didn't mean what he said back there at the hospital. "I hate you." That was a lie. Unlike some people, Naruto had no doubt in his mind that Sasuke truly did hate him. Naruto cried himself to sleep that night. Something he hadn't done since he vowed to the people of Konoha that he would become the Hokage one day. He remembered the first time he met Sasuke. The silly, accidental kiss. Their first fight with the demon brothers and Sasuke's amazing display of skill. The day when they learned to run up trees using chakra, how they exchanged triumphant grins when they reached the top. The day when he thought Sasuke had died and how enraged he had been. He remembered all the good times they had as well as the bad times. And he remembered how things would never be the same between them ever again. Naruto became increasingly depressed. He no longer had the will to smile and put up the mask as he always did. He could no longer ignore the hateful glares he received as he walked down the streets of Konoha. These were the people that he would be protecting when he became Hokage. People that despised every inch of his being. Could he live with that? Was he willing to live with that? And Naruto-kun? Naruto turned around to see Hinata smiling shyly at him. For Hinata, Naruto forced a smile onto his face. "Hi Hinata-chan. How are you doing?" "I am doing fine." "That's good," he told. He saw a blush creep up onto her cheeks as he said that. Naruto's forced smile gradually became genuine. Dear, sweet Hinata. The girl who always stared at him when he thought he wasn't looking and gave him shy little smiles whenever he saw her. Perhaps the only person among genins who didn't blow off his morning greetings. The only person among his peers who saw him for who he really was before he became a genin. Naruto took a step closer to Hinata, still smiling. "Hinata. Why yes? I like you?" Hinata blinked in surprise. What? "You're sweet, gentle, and have a lot of strength in here," Naruto said, putting his hand on his heart. The blush on Hinata's cheeks deepened. Thank you, Naruto-kun," she said, smiling. "If something happens to me if I went away, would you remember me?" "Oh, of course. I would never forget you, Naruto-kun." "Why you?" She hesitated. "Why you are a very precious person to me," and Naruto-kun by now, her face was beet red. "I can't believe I just said that." Naruto's smile widened. He closed his eyes. "Thank you." Naruto began walking away. Where are you going?" Hinata asked. Naruto looked over his shoulder, still smiling. "For some ramen." "Oh, okay." He paused for a second before he spoke again. "Hinata-chan, can you promise me something?" "Oh, of course, Naruto-kun. Anything." Hinata immediately replied. "If anything happens to me, promise me that you'll find happiness." What? Are you leaving?" Hinata asked fearfully. Naruto shook his head. "I just have a feeling that something's going to happen soon. Things could never be the same after all. Not after all that had happened. Something was going to change, whether he liked it or not. Do you promise?" He held out his pinky. Why yes. I promise you, Naruto-kun." She intertwined her pinky with his and the promise was made. Grinning, Naruto added, "And if nothing does happen, you could just forget it, hee." "I won't forget," Hinata said with complete seriousness. Naruto looked at Hinata in surprise before regaining his grin. "Good." Naruto stood atop a cliff within Konoha looking at the moon. He remembered his words to Hinata. He wasn't sure what urged him to say all that, but he felt it was right at the time. He wasn't running away though. No. He would never run away. He would pull through it and endure like he always did. Because he had to. Suddenly, Naruto pulled out a kunai, jumped backwards, and got into a defensive stance. I know you're there. Come out. Oh? I see you've gotten better since I last saw you. A man in a dark cloak stepped out of the shadows. A man with red eyes. Naruto instantly froze, his hand holding the kunai shaking. Why you? Itachi stared at Naruto with his cold gaze. It is time. You are coming with me. Naruto gritted his teeth and forced his muscles to relax. He would not freeze up like he did. He would fight. No! Throwing several kunai in Itachi's direction while running away, Naruto leapt off the cliff and headed as fast as he could toward the village. I gotta get help. There was a difference between running away and a tactical retreat. This was the latter. Naruto was headstrong but not insane. Itachi was an S-class criminal, who some say was even stronger than Orochimaru. A cold shiver rushed through his spine as memories of what the Sharingan user did to Sasuke and Kakashi while barely lifting a finger. You can't run, he heard from behind him. Maybe he couldn't run far, but thankfully he wasn't that far from the Konoha markets. Once he saw a few people standing out on the streets, he screamed, H, help! Help me, oof! Naruto was cut off as Itachi slammed foot into his back, sending him sprawling into the ground. They turned to Naruto with an annoyed expression at first, but that quickly turned to fear as they saw who was chasing him. They backed up in fear. Isn't that? It's Uchiha Itachi, the betrayer who killed his whole clan and abandoned Konoha. Grabbing Naruto roughly by the neck, Itachi addressed his witnesses. I am taking him with me. If anyone tries to stop me, I will kill you. As Naruto struggled to get free of Itachi's vice-like grasp, he looked at the people with a pleading expression and said, Please. Someone get help. Not a single person moved. In fact, people in the surrounding houses actually closed their windows. Tears began falling from his eyes. Please, somebody, anybody, but no one said or did anything. They simply looked away uncomfortably. Itachi. A flurry of kunai and shuriken flew at the kidnapper, but he took a few hops backwards and turned to his attacker calmly. Sasuke. Sasuke glared at the man with his Sharingan berserk eyes. I will kill you! Itachi scoffed, looking unamused. Please. You are still far too weak for me to even acknowledge your presence. I heard how you became Orochimaru's puppet, and how he roughly held Naruto up in the air, who was still struggling. Pathetic boy had to save you. How sad. Sasuke flinched. Shut up. I'll kill you and get vengeance for the clan and our parents. Itachi held Naruto in front of him, placing a kunai against the boy's neck. Naruto quickly stopped struggling as the kunai was pressed against his skin hard enough to draw blood. If you attack me, I will kill this boy. Naruto looked at Sasuke, hope in his eyes. As Sasuke, help. Words could not reach the Avenger. Sasuke charged forward, kunai in hand, and screamed, Die! The cold, sharp metal slid across Naruto's neck and a spray of blood gushed out. Itachi pushed Naruto to the ground. The darkness slowly engulfed Naruto. As he fell, with tears rolling down his cheeks, he looked at Sasuke with his wide, innocent eyes. The look of betrayal was clearly written on his face. Why? Sasuke could only see one thing in his tunnel vision, unfortunately. The only thing he'd seen for the past 6 years. Itachi. And so Sasuke, his face soaked in Naruto's own blood, ran past the boy without blinking an eye and thrust his weapon at Itachi. Itachi parried with a kunai of his own. As he looked at Sasuke's enraged face, his eyes seemed sad. He closed his eyes, then opened them again. You proved me wrong, Sasuke. You have grown stronger, good. But it is not your time yet. With that, Itachi put a large amount of chakra into his other hand and shoved his fist into Sasuke's stomach. Sasuke clutched his stomach as he doubled over, his consciousness fading. I will kill you one day. Itachi stared emotionlessly at Sasuke. One day. You will one day, Sasuke. Until next time, little brother. Naruto couldn't see what happened next. For Naruto had died. What is this darkness? It's warm. No one to hate me here. I see a light. It's cold. I don't like it. I turn my back on the light and embrace the darkness. It feels good. Naruto awoke. No, he had not died that day. After finishing with his brother, Itachi had escaped with Naruto's body. He performed a short jutsu on Naruto's body and began applying a medicine to the cut. The dagger Itachi had slit Naruto's throat with was a special dagger that had been dipped in a special healing ointment. Although Naruto's body was alive, part of him truly did die that day. It was a piece of him that he would never get back. Awake at last, I see. He wasn't alone? Naruto, who was flat on his back, did not bother trying to move. He only moved his eyes to the source of the voice, Itachi. He remembered. What are you going to do with me? Naruto murmured. I will take you to Akatsuki's base and then we will turn you into a finely honed weapon. We will make use of your powers, unlike Konoha. Konoha. My dream is to become Hokage and make everyone acknowledge me. Take me back. Naruto protested weakly. Itachi raised an eyebrow. You still want to go back there? Even after all that has happened? You would go back to a place where everyone despises you and wishes you dead? Where not a single person lifted a finger when you were in need of help? I just don't want to run away. Itachi looked Naruto in surprise. He had to admit, he was impressed by the amount of willpower Naruto displayed. Interesting. Unfortunately, I cannot comply with your request. You will be better off in Akatsuki anyways. We will train you to make use of Kyuubi and make you more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Help. Help me. Tears began falling from his eyes. Please somebody anybody, but no one said or did anything. They simply looked away uncomfortably. I don't need your help, I don't need anyone, Naruto murmured. A small, bitter smile surfaced onto Itachi's features. That attitude will make you strong. Don't worry, one day you will return to Konoha. When that day comes you will be more powerful than the Hokage himself. Then no one will be able to look away. Naruto said nothing. Silently though, he clenched his fist and repeated Itachi's words to himself. Tsunade looked down at a file on her desk with sadness in her eyes. She gently pressed her fingers against the picture before her. The file read: Uzumaki Naruto. Age 13. Deceased. After Itachi had killed Naruto and taken his body, Tsunade sent out numerous of ANBU squads out in a furious attempt to locate Itachi, but to no avail. Eventually the 5th Hokage was forced to label the boy as a Kia, killed in action, no matter how much she didn't want to. Sasuke himself said he had seen Naruto die, and there was no doubt that Itachi had taken the boy's body because he was a Jinchuriki. As tragic as it was, Konoha had moved on rather quickly after Naruto's death. After all, ninjas died every day. What was one more genin? The only difference was that this genin just happened to be the vessel of the demon Kyuubi. As far as the Hidden Leaf Village was concerned, good riddance. Only a few select were actually affected by the absence of the hyperactive ninja, and those were mainly the rookie genins. Shikamaru, Niji, Kiba, and Chuji had all gained a new respect for Naruto when they went to get Sasuke back. They had fought and bled together. Hinata was also deeply hurt by Naruto's disappearance. She remembered their conversation they had earlier that day. For a whole week she cooped herself up in her room, not speaking to anyone. But then she remembered her promise to Naruto. For him, Hinata would be strong. Of all the genins though, the ones that were most affected were of course Naruto's own team. Sakura still remembered and deeply regretted her words and attitude toward Naruto the past week. No more would she hear the constant calls of Sakura-chan. And now she could never tell Naruto how truly sorry she was. Only now could she admit that she truly missed and cared for the loud ninja. As for Sasuke, Itachi held Naruto in front of him, placing a kunai against the boy's neck. Naruto quickly stopped struggling as the kunai was pressed against his skin hard enough to draw blood. If you attack me, I will kill this boy. Naruto looked at Sasuke, hope in his eyes. As Sasuke help. Sasuke twisted in his sleep. The cold, sharp metal slid across Naruto's neck and a spray of blood gushed out. Itachi pushed Naruto to the ground. The darkness slowly engulfed Naruto. As he fell, with tears rolling down his cheeks, he looked at Sasuke with his wide, innocent eyes. The look of betrayal was clearly written on his face. Why? Sasuke could almost hear coming from the boy, his dead eyes piercing through his Sharingan. Sasuke awoke suddenly in a cold sweat. That dream again, he started, his voice shaking. No, not a dream, a nightmare, and Naruto's Sasuke stifled a cry. I am sorry. Wiping away his dry, salty tears, Sasuke tried to go back to sleep. Itachi and Naruto arrived at Akatsuki's base rather quickly. During that time, Naruto had once tried to escape from Itachi once and failed miserably. That was his only attempt. Why bother? He began to ask himself. The boy was in an even deeper depression than he was before he left Konoha. A part of him died that day and would never return. No matter how hard he tried, Naruto simply could not put on his fake smile no more. Akatsuki, located in the depths of a complex cavern, was a mysterious and morbid place, similar to the leaders of the organization. Itachi and Kisame lead Naruto through various corridors before entering a large chamber. In the center of the room was a gigantic statue whose hands protruded out from the ground. It had 10 closed eyes, and on each of its fingers were figures shrouded in shadows. Naruto looked at the statue, and a shiver ran up his spine. He couldn't shake this ominous feeling the statue gave him. "So this is the vessel of Kyuubi?" one of the shadows asked. "Yes," Itachi answered. Another shadow nodded his head. "I can feel an enormous power within the boy." One shadow seemed to chuckle. Konoha were fools. To have the strength of a demon in the palm of their hands, and yet all they do is shun and ignore it. How foolish. Suna is no better though. Although they attempted to control the boy, they failed miserably. The boy is a loose cannon. I am certain that he would have slaughtered the entire village one day had he not been given proper training. Most likely, Itachi agreed. We will not make that mistake, however. Kisame, where is the other Jinchuriki that you captured? In the holding cells, Kisame stated. I have decided that you and Itachi handle both the boys for their initial training unless you two have any objections. No, Itachi replied. Kisame, however, frowned. Would not Itachi-san and my skills be put to better use in capturing the remaining Jinchuriki? Clearly, we have had the most success out of everyone. Don't get cocky, you arrogant shark, one of the shadows snapped. Kakuzu and I have been busy waging war for the Tsuchikage. If you want to use that excuse, be my guest, Kisame replied coolly. Why you? I would be willing to train the Jinchuriki, interjected another shadow. The Kyuubi vessel intrigues after what he did to Sasuke-kun. You! Ha! Scoffed a shadow. Don't be ridiculous, Orochimaru. You would be more likely to take over their bodies than train them, even since the Hokage took your arms. I appreciate the offer, Orochimaru, but no, the main shadow said. I believe that Itachi and Kisame will be the best for the job, especially with Itachi's knowledge of seals. The rest of you will continue hunting down the others and increasing our repertoire with the other villages. Humph. Very well, Kisame relented. I will aid Itachi in training the Jinchuriki. Good. Start the training immediately. Kisame and Itachi ushered Naruto outside and took him to a prison cell. They shoved him inside. Wait here, Itachi said. The two Akatsuki's members left. That's when Naruto saw him. The boy who had nearly killed Lee and Sakura and who had aided in the raid against Konohagara, the Jinchuriki of the tailed beast Shikaku. He was sitting by himself, huddled in the corner with his knees against his chest. As Naruto walked into the room, Gaara's head snapped up and locked eyes with Naruto. They stared at each other for a long moment, neither saying a word. You, Gaara said, devoid of any emotion. Gaara Naruto wasn't sure of what to say. Gaara was a bitter enemy, one who had not hesitated in attempting to kill his friends and had almost completely incapacitated one. On the other hand, Gaara was also just like him and in the same situation. Thankfully, Itachi and Kisame returned, breaking the pregnant silence. I trust you have met this boy before. He will be training with you. Now follow us. Gaara and Naruto silently followed Itachi and Kisame as the men lead them to a training room. Naruto couldn't help but keep sneaking glances at the other boy. What did he think of all this? Would he cooperate? Or would he try to escape back to Sunagakure? What are you looking at? Gaara spoke suddenly with a brisk coldness, interrupting Naruto's thoughts. Naruto frowned, his brows furrowing. I was just wondering what you thought about this whole situation. Naruto lowered his voice and whispered, Are you going to try to escape back to Sunagakure? Gaara didn't speak for a moment. He turned away, and as he spoke, his voice became distant. Why bother? I could care less about those weaklings. I will use this Akatsuki to make me stronger, and then I will kill them all. Naruto nervously glanced at the pair of Akatsuki ahead of them. Sure, whisper. I think they can hear you. I don't care. Out in front, Kisame chuckled. Naruto wondered about what Gaara had said though. Why should he care? They certainly didn't. Naruto looked at Sasuke, hope in his eyes. As Sasuke help. He quickly shook his head violently at the painful memory still fresh in his mind. Who cares about that bastard anyways? I don't need his help, I don't need anyone. Gaara watched Naruto's troubled eyes with an unreadable expression. Once they arrived the training area, Itachi asked the boys to state their weaknesses. Naruto pondered on the question for a bit. The old Naruto probably would have said that he didn't have any. What was his weakness? I don't know that many jutsus, I guess. I have no weaknesses, Gaara stated. Eh? Liar! Naruto immediately said. Your weakness is that you're physically slow, and your taijutsu sucks. Gaara gazed coldly at Naruto. You think you know me? Naruto returned the gaze with a glare. I've beaten you before, I can beat you again. Quiet down, you punks, Kisame said, swinging his bandaged sword in between them. Naruto complied and, surprisingly, so did Gaara, though a faint humph could be heard. For the beginning training, we will devote half to working on your weaknesses. The other half will be used to train the tail beasts within you, Itachi said. The latter surprised both of them. How are you going to do that? Naruto asked. You'll see, he simply said. The training had begun. Kisame spent most of the time viciously beating into Gaara, breaking through his sand armor, while giving him pointers about how to dodge and other ways of defending besides his sand. Throughout this, it was visibly clear that Gaara was having an extremely difficult time restraining himself and Shikaku. Come on, Jinchuriki, you can do better than that, Kisame berated. Just wait until I can control Shikaku, Gaara thought angrily. Then they can all die. While this was going on, Itachi spent the time trying to teach Naruto a few defensive elemental jutsus since he knew none. They weren't having much success. Pathetic. That looked nothing like I showed you, Itachi said harshly. Naruto glared at his new teacher. Well, unlike you, I don't have a stupid Sharingan to help me. Itachi stared at Naruto for a moment with a cold, calculated expression. Then he said, I'm sure my little brother would have picked it up in no time. Naruto instantly clenched his fist and attained a serious expression on his face. Narrowing his eyes, he concentrated and performed the seals. Thrusting his palms onto the ground, he shouted, Doton, Doria Hiki. Itachi looked at the result. Horrible attempt. Naruto grimaced as he looked at what he had done. A very small stone wall had formed that barely went up to his knee. Kisame looked over and laughed. Haha, what are you doing, Itachi-san? Teaching him how to trip someone? Itachi ignored Kisame. Let us move on to training your tail beasts. He walked over to Gaara. Release your sand armor and lift up your shirt. Gaara looked like he going to refuse but did. The sand oozed off and onto the ground and he pulled up his shirt. As soon as the sand was off, Itachi formed several seals then pulled back his palm. With his fingertips burning of blue flames, he smashed his open palm into Gaara's stomach. Gaara flew backwards onto the ground and clutched his stomach in pain. Hey! What did he do that for? Naruto shouted angrily. He tried to approach Itachi but Kisame held him back with a hand. You'll see, Kisame stated. Gaara gradually got up off the ground on one knee and gave Itachi a bloodthirsty glare. Why, you ribbons of sand began swirling about the boy. I'll kill you! Is it not easier to control the sand now? Itachi asked, not in the least intimidated by Gaara. Gaara blinked. He held up his hand and saw the sand flowing around his arm freely. It was easier. True, he did have control of the sand before, but now he could do it effortlessly. He could probably perform the Sabaka-Q with just a single thought now. What did you do? I performed a seal on you. It allows Shikaku's chakra to freely combine with your own, Itachi explained. It took me a very long time to find and learn that seal. It is one of the reasons I am the one supervising your training. Gaara looked at himself, shocked. However, you will need to speak to Shikaku. Speak to Shikaku? Itachi walked over to Gaara. Stare into my eyes. Gaara complied. Itachi's Sharingan morphed into that of the Manjikyu Sharingan, and soon Gaara was hypnotized to sleep. Naruto got into a defensive stance. What did you do to him? He is in a dream state where he should be talking to his tailed beast. Now for you. Lift up your shirt. Naruto did so and Itachi did the same thing to Naruto that he did to Gaara. Oh. Now you need to speak with Kyuubi, Naruto stated. Raising an eyebrow, Naruto smartly uttered, Huh? How am I supposed to do that? Look into my eyes. Naruto did so, frightened at first. It wasn't long though before he became memorized by the Manjikyu Sharingan and slipped into a deep sleep. Naruto opened his eyes and looked around. He whipped around and saw a gigantic gate behind him. Here again. Naruto gulped as he began to sweat. The boy never enjoyed confrontations with his inner beast. Who would? I guess I'd better go in. Naruto walked up to gate, grabbed the bars, Kyuubi. The gate moaned and gradually creaked open. At first, the only thing he saw on the other side was a pitch-black darkness, but Naruto knew better. It only took a moment for the tailed beast's spiritual form of Kyubi to appear, his chakra whipping all about. The enormous eyes peered at Naruto as if burning a hole straight through his chest. "What do you want, boy?" it growled. Naruto felt flustered. What the hell was he supposed to say? Itachi never enlightened him on that part. Eventually Kyubi became impatient. "Well? Are you going to just stand there, stuttering like a fool, or are you going to speak up?" At that, Naruto glared angrily at the beast. "Shut up. This is your damn fault, you know. It's because of you that everyone hates and despises me." "And?" Naruto blinked, surprised at Kyubi's reply. "Do you think I like this any more than you? Being stuck inside a pitiful weakling human?" "What? I'm not pitiful or weak," Naruto shouted back. "Oh? Showing some backbone for once, are you? Even after letting those pathetic humans step all over you all this time?" Kyubi seemed to chuckle at the frustrated look the boy was displaying. "Then speak up and tell me what you want, little man." The boy was silent for a moment. Appearing to make a decision, Naruto clenched his fist and yelled at the tailed beast, "Give me your power!" The fox demon laughed yet again. "Why should I? As if you don't use enough of it already. What are you going to do with my power?" I'll force everyone to acknowledge me. I'll show them all. I'll say to everyone, this is me. Look at how strong I am. Acknowledge my strength. And then they won't ever be able to look away from me ever again," Naruto cried out. All the years of pent-up anger and depression that had been hidden deep within the boy finally seemed to be pouring out. "Even if they look at you with fear and hatred in their eyes?" Naruto chuckled with a strange tinge of darkness. "Since when have they not?" he asked. "I don't care anymore. Whether they like it or not, I'll make them respect my strength even if it is out of fear." "Oh? And if my power drives you so berserk that you want to massacre the place you call home? What will you do then?" Home. Naruto thought about all the people in Konoha and their glares of hatred. He thought about his former crush, Sakura. He thought about how no one cared at all when his life was in danger. He thought of Sasuke. "You don't understand, I already do," Naruto snarled. At that, Kyubi grinned ferociously, displaying his bloodthirsty canines. "Then we want the same thing. Very well then. My power is yours to use from this day on. You are Naruto Uzumaki of Konoha no more. You may know my true name now. It is Kurama." 2 months had passed since Gaara and Naruto's training had begun. "We're going on a mission," Itachi stated suddenly. "Eh?" Naruto pondered, raising an eyebrow. "We are to sneak into a Wagakure located between the Land of Earth and Land of Wind," Itachi began explaining. Kisame, Gaara, and Naruto gathered around him. Itachi held up a roughly drawn map of the village that had various colored dots on it. "The target is here, in this mansion. His name is Kurosaga Rafa, right hand of a powerful crime lord. We are to assassinate him and kill anyone who spots us." Gaara and Kisame took all this in, accepting it, but Naruto appeared a bit anxious. "Kill? We have to kill them?" "Yes, Naruto. That is what we have been contracted to do," Itachi stated. Normally, Akatsuki did not do simple jobs such as this, but this was more of a test for their new disciples. It was designed to test their ability to do battle effectively and efficiently without any qualms or objections. This was very important for a ninja and the type of weapons Akatsuki wanted to turn the boys into. "Kisame and I will take care of Kurosaga. Gaara, you will head through the front and make a distraction. They should not have any high-class ninja employed, so I trust it will be nothing you cannot handle." Gaara nodded. He knew what making a distraction was and had no problems with that. Itachi turned to Naruto, who still looked uneasy. "You will hold the entrance to the mansion from outside and make sure no one else enters, as they may call for reinforcements. Do you understand, Naruto?" "Why yeah, I got it," Naruto said, trying to steady his voice. This would be his first assassination mission ever. "Let's go." It didn't take them long to journey into the country where Wagakure was located. They were now only a couple days outside of the hidden village. Kisame and Itachi were huddled around a small campfire, discussing something. Gaara and Naruto were currently on lookout. Gaara was looking stoic as ever as he stared out into the rocky cliffs. Naruto was beside and appeared to be in deep thought. "Can I really kill when the time comes?" he wondered to himself. He thought about Konoha. The rage and anger immediately built up within him. Then Naruto thought of Hinata and Irika. He couldn't bring himself to hurt them. He thought of Sakura. Even though Naruto was deeply hurt by her words and actions, could he really bring himself to kill her if he was face to face with her? And if he couldn't kill people that hated and abused him, How could Naruto possibly bring himself to take the life of a complete stranger who had done nothing to him? He didn't know. The 4 ninjas of Akatsuki watched the mansion from afar, hidden in the darkness of night amongst the jagged cliffs surrounding rock. Itachi glanced over at Naruto and Gaara, gave them a few hand signals, and headed off toward the back of the mansion with Kisame. Gaara and Naruto nodded, acknowledging the signals. A few minutes passed before Gaara started to move out, leaving Naruto by himself. To say that Naruto was nervous was understatement. He was extremely anxious. Not only was this his first mission in months, it was also his first killing mission as well his first mission outside of Konoha. What if something went wrong? Or what if the guy had a family? Would they have to die too? Itachi assured him that the man had no family, but what if he was wrong? Naruto shook his head. No use worrying about that now. Focusing his attention, he studied Gaara. The front of the mansion was guarded only by 2 men, but who knew what was on the other side of that door? Gaara calmly walked up to the door, his arms crossed in front of his chest, and eyed the 2 men. The guards seemed to be asking what Gaara was doing, but he didn't reply. They looked at each other, becoming alarmed, and began approaching Gaara. One of them looked like he was about to grab him, but the guard was abruptly thrown off his feet as a huge fist of sand pummeled into his chest. The man tumbled into his fellow guard and they flew even further, crashing through the wooden door entrance. Naruto could not see what happened next as Gaara was now inside the mansion. By the looks of it, it appeared the boy would have no problems handling himself, which was as suspected. Now all Naruto had to do was watch Gaara's back. Please no one come, Naruto chanted to himself. 1 minute passed, though it seemed like an eternity for Naruto. He sighed, whispering to himself, I hope they finish up soon. Naruto whipped his eyes toward the road as the sound of footsteps reached his sensitive ears. It wasn't long before 5 men entered his view, heading towards the mansion. Naruto held up a kunai. What should I do? I don't want to kill them. But Itachi said if they see us, we have to wait. That's it. Forming a few seals, Naruto whispered Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. What appeared beside Naruto were not several identical clones, however. Instead, he created several figures that took the form of an ANBU member. Quickly wrapping a genjutsu around himself as well, Naruto and his clones charged into the unsuspecting men. All the men seemed to normal guards, so they weren't much of a much for Naruto and his clones. Who are you? The guard managed to get out just before Naruto socked him in the stomach and followed up with an uppercut to his chin. The man flew back onto the ground, unconscious. There, Naruto said, breathing a sigh of relief. He didn't have to kill anyone yet. After making his clones vanish, he decided to check in on Gaara and headed into the mansion. Oddly, he didn't see the 2 guards Gaara had initially confronted. The only thing that lay in the long beginning hallway was a trail of blood leading into another room. Filled with dread, Naruto followed the trail of blood to the doors and opened them. What he saw in the next room made him sick to his stomach. Bloody, gutted bodies were scattered everywhere throughout the room. The stench of the blood was almost overwhelming for Naruto. In the middle of all the carnage, he saw Gaara with a crazed look on his face, and above was a man encased in hand of sand. Naruto recognized the move. Gaara, stop. The bloodthirsty eyes snapped to Naruto, piercing through him. Naruto flinched, but didn't back down. Don't do it! The eyes became angered. Stay out of my way, he growled. This is our job. But you don't have to kill them like that. Gaara scoffed. What does it matter in the end? A dead body is a dead body. Please! You don't have to listen to your demon anymore. Slightly surprised at the statement, Gaara's grip loosened slightly, allowing the man to drop from the sand and onto the floor, unconscious. Kill him. Kill them. Kill them. Kill them all. Shikaku's voice raged inside Gaara's mind. Gaara shook his head furiously, moaning, and put a hand to his temple. The moment he acquired the killer intent, the tailed beast's cries barraged him in full force. He looked at Naruto, glaring. What would you know? You know nothing of the pain I feel. I heard about the seal you have, and it is nothing like mine. I have to fight for control with Shikaku. Every waking minute is an endless battle. Gaara's eyes became unfocused and shaky. You have no idea this is the only way that I can satisfy his hunger. The fool didn't understand. No one did. That is why he would be alone always. No! You can keep fighting! Naruto shouted at him. If you give in to his hunger, then you've already lost the fight. It's not that easy. Kill him now. Gaara cried out in pain, falling to his knees. Gaara! Shut up! Gaara shouted furiously. He thrust his hand at Naruto. A wave of sand rushed at a wide-eyed Naruto. Having no way out, Naruto shut his eyes and braced himself with arms out in front. He waited for the blow to come, but it never did. Slowly, he opened his eyes to see that the sand had not attacked him. "Make sure your targets are dead next time," Gaara stated icily. Surprised, Naruto looked behind and saw the sand wrapped around one of the guards he had thought he had defeated outside. Gaara stared at the man in his grasp, peering into his prey's fearful eyes. Gaara kept staring, waiting to feel something with the man's life in his palm, but it never came. "I silenced Shikaku," he thought to himself, amazed. He didn't know whether it was Naruto's encouraging words or Itachi's new seal, but Gaara had finally managed to defeat his inner demon for self-control. At least for now, but a victory was a victory. Coming out of his deep thoughts, he gazed at his victim. "I could kill this man right now with the Sabakakyu." Gaara, Naruto managed. "I thought I could get away without killing anyone, but if Gaara hadn't have saved me, I might have been dead by now." The boy looked at the man within the sand's grasp, whose eyes looked like that of a rabid dog about to be put down. "And now, because of me, this man is going to be tortured to death by the Sabaku." Naruto turned his eyes away, unable to look at the result of his actions. "This is all my fault." Shaoshin. "Huh!" Naruto gaped. Instead of seeing a man implode within the hand of sand, he only saw the man's eyes go blank for a second before his head dropped limp. "What did you do?" "I used the sand to force an extreme amount of pressure onto his heart, stopping it from functioning. It is an instant death," Gaara stated. A small smile formed on Naruto's lips. "Gaara," he started, but was cut off. "Next time I won't clean up your mess, weakling," the boy of sand said coldly. Naruto flinched visibly. "Sorry." Gaara shoved past Naruto, throwing the boy off balance, and walked out of the mansion. Naruto. Naruto turned to see Itachi behind him with his usual expressionless facade. "You did not kill the guards." It was a statement, not a question. "And no," Naruto began, wincing at Itachi's tone. "I thought I could beat them without." Itachi cut in. "You were not ordered to think. You were told to kill anyone who tries to enter the building." Naruto protested, "But you said only to kill people that see us, so I just used the genjutsu and—" "Do you think that makes any difference?" Itachi asked coldly. "I saw what happened. What would you have done had Gaara not been there?" The distraught ninja didn't reply because he knew where Itachi going and knew he was right. "Naruto, tell me this, Naruto. What are you?" "Huh? Tell me what you are. What have you been training to become?" "I'm a ninja?" Naruto started slowly, not seeing what Itachi was getting at. Itachi nodded. "That's right. A ninja. What is Konoha, Naruto?" It's a village of ninjas?" Naruto still didn't see where he was going but continued to answer the questions anyways. "Right. Konoha is a hidden village of ninja. You have been training since the age of 6 to become a ninja, to become good at what you do," Itachi explained. "Do not disguise what a ninja is. We are elite bodyguards, spies, and assassins. We are killers. Murderers. Call it whatever you want, but we are the hand of death. You've been trained since you were a child to learn how to become a good killer. Do you understand that?" Realization gradually lit up in Naruto's eyes as Itachi's words struck a chord. He was right. Every single jounin, all the chunins, all the genins, all the children in the academy, they were all trained killers. Everything that Naruto learned at the academy was how to be stealthy and how to decapitate opponents quickly and efficiently. The very first thing children learned in the academy was how to throw a kunai, a sharp metal weapon created to pierce through human flesh. Why didn't he realize it sooner? Even if he had not been kidnapped by Akatsuki, he would have inevitably been given a mission to kill from Konoha. Think about that. Itachi walked past Naruto and through the exit. Ninjas are killers. On the way back to Akatsuki's home base, Naruto and Gaara were once again on watch. Neither had spoken to each other since the mission. Naruto cast a quick glance toward his companion. After a moment's hesitation, he spoke up. "Hey Gaara." "What? Do you ever miss Suna?" "No," came the immediate answer. "But what about your brother and sister? Don't you miss them? Even just a little?" Naruto asked. Gaara said nothing. Naruto sighed. Looking away from Gaara, he turned to the scenery. "I don't know what I'm getting at, I just sometimes I don't know if this is the right choice." For a long time no one said anything. Gaara glanced at Naruto. The boy was still thinking to himself, his eyes clearly displaying a struggle. He has changed so much, Gaara thought. The boy before Gaara seemed merely a shell of his former overconfident self. During the 2 months of training with Naruto, he realized that this Naruto was nothing like the ninja who had made Gaara realize that he didn't have to be alone and that he had a choice. This is my way of the ninja. It was this memory that made Gaara speak up contrary to his normal judgment. I don't know what has happened to you, Gaara began, catching Naruto's attention, but I'm disappointed in what you have become. You disappoint me. What? Naruto said, surprised. Gaara stared into Naruto's eyes coldly, unblinking. The ninja I knew during the Chunin exams, the person who shamelessly defeated me to defend the life of his comrades, was not one to doubt his own decisions. You always had full confidence in the actions you took, and you never looked back. You were one who looked forward. Always. Before Naruto could respond, Gaara took off. Never looked back, Naruto whispered to himself. Naruto's first kill had been nothing special. The man had been a former ANBU that was working as a mercenary. He had been guarding their target, which was unfortunate for him. Naruto killed him with a well-placed kunai into his heart. He died near instantly. His first kill. There were no extraordinary emotions that he felt when the deed had finally been done. There was no sadness in his heart for killing the stranger, nor was there a feeling of enjoyment, something that he had at first feared would happen. He simply didn't feel anything. He was just getting the job done. Although this had been his first kill, this had not been the first time he had seen a dead body, not by far. What should I be feeling? Naruto wondered to himself, confused. Shouldn't I be feeling sad that I have just taken the life of another human being? But he's a mercenary. He accepted the dangers of his job. He would have died eventually. No one lives forever. What difference does it make that I was the one that killed him? If I hadn't done it, some other ninja would have. Naruto held up his blood-soaked kunai and stared at it intently. Gripping the handle tightly, he murmured to himself, "This is the life that I have chosen." The whispered statement marked the end of Naruto's childhood innocence and the beginning of a new path. 3 years passed since that time. The day was bright and sunny with a clear blue sky over Konoha. 2 young men were slowly walking up to the gates of the hidden village. The men were both garbed in light black cloaks that was red on the inside. The collars of the cloaks were open, revealing masks that resembled the Hunter-Nin masks. At the forehead of the masks a symbol of a crescent moon was etched. Both masks were identical except for 2 distinctions. One mask had 3 long whisker-type markings on both sides of the cheeks, and the other mask had the character for love written in the upper corner of it. The whiskered masked man had yellow eyes and bright wild blonde hair that appeared reminiscent of the 4th Hokage from the monument that towered high above Konoha. The love-marked masked man had short, spiky red hair and carried a large, oversized red gourd on his back. The men were only slightly shorter than average adult height that suggested they still had not yet grown to their full length yet. The 2 made their way gates of Konoha that was guarded by 2 men. "State your name and purpose, please," the guard immediately asked. "I'm Tenma and he's Akuma," the blond man said, taking out his passport. "We are from the Tsukigakure. We're here to take the Jounin exam." The guards glanced at the passports before nodding and stepping aside. The 2 walked into the village. "Konoha," the blonde-haired man whispered in a whimsical tone. The redhead looked over at his companion. "Naruto." Naruto shook his head to himself. "Don't worry about me, Gaara, I'm fine. It just feels weird coming back after so long." Both spoke in very low tones so that only they could hear each other's words. Gaara nodded, then looked around. "Where is your shadow?" He shrugged. "Scoping out the area, I think. I told him to search for possible places where they might be keeping them." "I see." They continued to walk in silence for a moment until Naruto spoke up suddenly. "Hey, let's go get some ramen." "Ramen?" "Yup, ramen. We have an hour to kill and we can let my shadow do most of the information gathering." Gaara simply shook his head but followed Naruto to a nearby ramen stand. "Welcome." The man behind the counter greeted them as they sat down on the stools. "What would you like to order for today?" "Beef ramen, please," Naruto answered. "Same," Gaara said. "Gotcha. Coming right up." They received orders rather quickly and began eating. They managed to eat with their masks on by tilting them up slightly and slipping the food underneath. "Welcome. What can I get you 3 for today?" Gaara and Naruto continued to eat silence as the other customers came and sat up at the counter beside them. "Give us 3 super-sized special ramen," Chuji shouted. "Today's a special occasion because our buddy here's taking the Jounin exam." "Hey, Don't order for me. I have to stay on a strict diet, you know, Ino said. Shikamaru rolled his eyes. Geez, what for? You look fine if you asked me. Ino blushed slightly. Really? Yeah. A little baby fat never hurt anyone, oh wow. Shikamaru rubbed the back of his head. What did you hit me for? Ino glared. You know why, you jerk. Shikamaru crossed his arms. Humph. So troublesome. Man, can't you two get a room? Chuji cut in. W what? Both said in surprise. Chuji smirked. At least wait until after Shikamaru becomes Jounin, and then you two can celebrate. I don't know what you're talking about, Chuji. Ino angrily protested. Why yeah, Shikamaru agreed. Anyways, I don't see what the big deal is. I don't know why they had to force me to take this troublesome exam. Well, you were supposed to take it last time, you dummy. Ino told him. Yeah, Chuji agreed. These only happen once every year, you know. Humph. By the way, who's your partner? Ino wondered curiously. Everyone has to be in teams of 2 for this year's Jounin exam, right? Shikamaru nodded, but looked annoyed. Yeah. It's bad enough that I have to take part in the Jounin exam in the first place, but now I gotta be stuck with someone the whole time? Great. I don't think that's a bad thing, Shikamaru. You could just let your partner do all the work, Chuji said with a grin. Humph, not my style. So who is he? Ino asked again. The Hyuga. Ino raised an eyebrow. Hinata? No. Hinata's with Kiba, not surprisingly. My partner is Niji. He's still a Chunin? Chuji said, surprised. Yeah, for one reason or another. Come to think of it, Ino started with a thoughtful expression, Shino's the only one of us from the old rookie Genin pack that's already a Jounin, huh? Who would have thought? Isn't he in the NBU? Yeah. Shikamaru froze in mid-sentence abruptly, his eyes going wide. His companions looked at him curiously. What's the matter, Shikamaru? Shikamaru didn't reply as he snapped his head to the empty seats beside them. What the hell? I didn't even feel them move. How the hell did they vanish so quickly without me noticing? He thought to himself. It's like they were never there to begin with, like ghosts. Shikamaru? Shikamaru! Ino bonked the young man across the back of his head. Oh. What did you do that for, woman? Shikamaru said, glaring. Because you were zoning out and ignoring us, you lazy bum. Ino replied, returning the glare. Shikamaru rubbed his head softly. Geez, troublesome girl, he muttered under his breath. What was that? Nothing, silently, the Chunin thought. Who were those two? Naruto and Gaara walked up to the Jounin exam building and could see 3 figures standing in front of the entrance. Naruto's eyes widened as recognition dawned on him. He felt his heart stop and his pulse increase. With each step, Naruto's blood began to boil within him. It was him. Naruto gritted his teeth and clenched his fist. Naruto, Gaara said a low tone, it is not yet time. Remember the plan. We're supposed to keep a low profile until the tournament. Slowly, Naruto's fist unclenched. Ha, funny hearing that from you. Don't worry, I'll control myself, we'll be fighting sooner or later anyways. As they got closer, their conversation reached their ears. Humph, I don't see why I have to be stuck with this idiot, Sasuke muttered. It's the only way I can assure that no one else defeats you but me, Sasuke-kun, Lee said enthusiastically. Because we are eternal rivals. Sasuke rolled his eyes while their third companion giggled at them. Well, good luck you two, Sakura told them. I better get going now. Look at them, those cheery, oblivious idiots. I should kill Sasuke right now, right here, Naruto thought to himself in anger. It looks like nothing changed at all in this secluded, happy-go-lucky village of ninja while I was away. It's no wonder I was so ignorant when I was living here. Naruto cleared his throat and said in a cold voice, Excuse us. All 3 looked up surprised, having not even noticed the newcomer's presence. 2 figures dressed in dark cloaks and hunter-neon face masks met their eyes. Oh, sorry, Sakura said, stepping aside. Sasuke and Lee did likewise. As Naruto passed Sasuke, he met the Uchiha's eyes for a brief second, then broke contact. A sharp, powerful force suddenly pressed into Sasuke's chest, halting his breath, before it vanished soon after. What was that? Sasuke whispered, clutching his chest. His eyes were wavering with anxiety, and his voice was shaky. Lee and Sakura shared a glance of confusion as they looked their friend. Eh? What was what, Sasuke-kun? Lee asked. You didn't feel it? Sasuke replied. Sakura looked at Sasuke with concern. Feel what? After a moment, Sasuke turned away and said, Nothing, never mind. It was nothing. He turned his gaze toward the two figures entering the building with questions forming in his head. Who are they? And what was that incredible killer intent I just felt? He thought with a shudder. The shadow quietly crawled across the ceiling of the main administration office of Konoha, invisible to the naked eye as he was skillfully wrapped in a genjutsu. He passed over many Konoha ninjas, but they all walked by, oblivious. The shadow cautiously avoided the high-risk areas, such as the Hokage's office and Jounin gathering rooms. Carefully but quickly, he made his way to one room in particular where he could find the scrolls that he wanted. Peeking in, the shadow scanned the proximity and saw that no one was there. He dropped down from the ceiling without making a sound and started towards a row of filing cabinets. As he sifted through, one scroll caught the shadow's eye. He opened the scroll and began to read it. This is. Just outside the office, Anko was walking through the hallways with a bored look. It's so boring nowadays. I haven't been given a high-ranking mission in so long it seems like. She sighed to herself. I wouldn't even mind being the Jounin examiner just for the change of pace. For a long while, the female Jounin had gradually begun to feel as if something was missing in her life. I want to fight someone strong. I want to learn a new jutsu. I want to do something other than just sit around here all day, she thought in exasperation. What's happened to me? Years ago, when she was younger, she used to push herself in her daily training, physically and mentally. She had made it her goal to learn a new jutsu or new move every week. It was the feeling of accomplishment of learning something fresh that motivated her. Anko loved it. She loved how she could see herself constantly growing stronger every day. She loved fighting against stronger opponents with her new jutsus, and the adrenaline of undergoing a difficult, life-or-death mission. People used to call her a genius ninja because of that attitude. They were amazed at the growth she displayed and her quick development. So what had changed? What had made her become just another ninja in the ranks of Konoha? She knew what it was. Orochimaru. After him, after seeing what power could do to a man, she became afraid of becoming like that. On that day of betrayal, she had lost her power-hungry attitude. Ouch! Anko felt a pain pulsing from her neck. She placed her hand over the cursed seal. The seal again, it's been acting up lately. I wonder why. Anko shrugged to herself. She'll get it checked out later. Walking up to the office room, her hand reached over to open the door but stopped right when she touched the handle. Wait, something's not right here. The shadow finished slipping several useful documents he had discovered into his shirt, and quietly closed the cabinet. The shadow's ear twitched. Whipping out a kunai in the blink of an eye, he took a step back hastily and parried the shuriken that was flying towards him. I don't know who you are, Anko began, but we at Konoha don't appreciate strangers looking into our personal files. She examined the man with a critical eye. His identity was completely concealed by the whiskered hunter-nine face mask and solid black clothing. Give up right now or else, she demanded. You don't stand a chance against one of Konoha's best, Mitarashi Anko. Anko, smirking confidently, held up several kunai at the invader. If you do give up, I promise I'll let you HHUI. In the midst of Anko's speech, the man made a leap towards the window and smashed through it. Cursing to herself, she ran to the window and peered out it. The man had landed on a roof below, unharmed, and was currently attempting to escape at full speed. You won't get away! She shouted as she leapt out the window herself and started racing after him. Welcome to the Jounin exams, everybody! Guy enthusiastically shouted to everyone as he made his grandiose entrance. Guy, as Naruto could recall, was the former Jounin sensei over Lee's team. Naruto doubted that the man would recognize he or Gaara. So far, there were only a few threats that warranted the young man's attention. As expected, the hometown of the exam had the strongest teams, which wasn't surprising. The hometown advantage meant a great deal, and not many were willing to risk sending their elite ninja protégés into enemy territory. A lot could happen during the exams, and losing Jounin candidates was a serious loss to ninja villages. This was one of the ways that the Jounin exam differed from the Chunin exam. Gaara and Naruto had arrived rather early, so they had a chance to see all of their potential opponents. Currently, only two teams truly stood out from the rest and could pose as possible obstacles for the two members of Akatsuki. Those teams were Sasuke/Lee and Neji/Shikamaru. Part of their mission was to last until the second part of the exam without being identified. That meant that they could not use the full extent of their powers and would have to avoid familiar faces. Naruto glanced at the other teams. Total, there were only 16 teams of 2 attending. The teams were comprised of pairs from AIM, IWA, Taki, Suna, and of course, Konoha. Naruto's eyes slowly fell upon one team in particular. Hinata and Kiba. Would they be a threat, he wondered? Kiba had extensive knowledge of his fighting techniques, and could possibly remember his scent. And as for Hinata, Naruto shook his head. No. They were not a threat. He was surprised they were even in the Jounin exam in the first place, but he still doubted that they had become significantly stronger. They still appeared to be the same people that he remembered from before. Right now they seemed to be conversing about something. For whatever reason, Naruto gave into his curiosity and increased his hearing range. Don't look so worried, Hinata, Kiba said, a confident smirk on his features. We've both gotten a lot stronger. Both Kurenai-sensei and Shino think so too. These guys don't stand a chance. Hinata, looking towards the ground, shyly argued, but Niji Nizen doesn't think so, and there's a lot of strong people entering this year's exam. Humph. Forget what Niji said. Either he doesn't want you to get in the way or he doesn't want you to get hurt, but either way Kiba slowed down and cast his gaze aside as he gathered the courage to speak his next words. Hinata looked at Kiba curiously. Coughing, he finished, I'll be here to protect you. Hinata appeared surprised at the bold declaration before slowly forming a small, shy smile and nodding. Naruto turned his attention away. Not important to the mission. Despite himself, Naruto couldn't help but feel just a little jealous. If anything happens to me, promise me that you'll find happiness. It doesn't matter. It was better this way. Naruto peered at another team beside them. There was one other team that could pose a real problem. He glanced at Gaara. Although his companion appeared stoic as ever, Naruto knew better and knew what the young man was thinking of. Gaara, Naruto started, lowering his voice so that only Gaara could hear. Because they wore masks, no one could see their mouths moving. What? Gaara replied gruffly. The team from Suna. They are of no concern, came the immediate reply. Naruto eyed his companion closely. Are you sure? They have no affiliation with Konoha, so it wouldn't matter if. They are of no concern, he repeated. Naruto tried to refrain himself from shaking his head at Gaara. Naruto knew his companion hated it when he passed judgment on him, but still. They were his family, for better or worse. Family was something Naruto had no concept of, having no blood-related relatives himself. Though he knew that Gaara was never on the best of terms with his brother and sister, he also knew that they were all he had for the first 13 years of his life. That had to have meant something. To let Kankuro and Temari that he was alive was the least he could do. Naruto's attention focused back to Guy, who was explaining the Jounin exam. This Jounin exam will consist of 2 parts. I will be guiding you all through the first half, Guy explained. This part of the exam will test your speed and ability to execute a mission as quickly and efficiently as possible. Once the exam starts, which is as soon as I leave this room, it will be a race to a location that I will lead you to. At the very peak of that location there will numerous gems there. The gem you need to attain is an emerald gem. Each emerald will allow a team to pass. Only 1 gem per team is needed. The contestants listened to all this attentively, already making plans on how to get the gems first or ambush other teams. Once the emerald is attained, you must return to the location marked within Konoha immediately, because only the first 8 teams will pass, regardless of whether you have an emerald or not. There are no rules with the exception of no outside interference, which I and the ANB will be monitoring and making sure of. There were numerous murmurings among the contestants before Guy raised his hand for another announcement. 2 more things, Guy started slowly, a large grin appearing on his face. Once those 8 teams have arrived, the second half of the exam will begin immediately. At this, many of the teams gasped in surprise. An expedition for several days against near Jounin level ninjas with no downtime in between. Oh, that's too unreasonable, one of the AIM ninjas said. For one, you Konoha ninjas will have an obvious advantage because you already know the area. Kankuro rolled his eyes and scoffed openly. Pathetic, quit whining. The AIM ninja turned to glare at Kankuro. What did you say? Guy interrupted them as he shook his head. The area where the exam will be taking place is off limits to all Konoha personnel that are Chunins and below. It is a training ground only for elite ninja because there are many dangerous traps and because it is on the outskirts of enemy territory. Guy's grin widened. Only the strong will survive, my young ninjas. And? Niji asked in a slightly tired tone. What was the second thing you mentioned? Guy's grin widened. I did mention that this was a race, didn't I? That means that I won't be waiting around for you to catch up to me, that is. In the blink of an eye, Guy vanished. What? Some of the contestants gasped. Where did he go? Damn, let's go before we lose him. The Chunins quickly vacated the room soon after Guy. Naruto and Gaara already left soon after Guy, as did many of the more intelligent ninjas did, but this particular pair was in no hurry to catch up. He doesn't actually expect us to keep up with him, Naruto thought. I'm pretty sure that the only ones that even chance in keeping pace with Guy is Lee and him. This is more to test our tracking abilities. Naruto looked over to his companion. What? Your shadow. Where is he? Gaara asked. Naruto blinked. You're right, he's not following us. He closed his eyes for a second, then opened them. Something's happened. I can't sense him, he's too far away. The exam has already begun. I know. Naruto thought to himself momentarily. It can't be helped. He knows what to do if things get messy. Come on, let's hurry up. Damn it, Anko cursed to herself. The chase between her and the unknown ninja was being drawn out far too long. They were already out of the village. She needed to stop him quick before he ran back to any allies he had. Taking out an explosive seal, she quickly wrapped it around a kunai and launched it towards the unknown ninja. The kunai impaled a tree ahead of him and exploded in a flash of fire a second later. The kunai was well placed, for the ninja was shoved through air by the explosion and sent crashing into a tree. That's far enough, Anko shouted. The shadow quickly flipped to his feet and got into a defensive stance. Taking a moment to access the situation, he glanced from her to the space around her for escape routes, but found none. Anko and the spy stared at each other for a long moment, either moving an inch or saying anything. The spy's finger twitched ever so slightly, but Anko caught the movement instantly and decided at that moment to make her move. Sanai Jashu! Anko shouted as she thrust her arms forward, unleashing a volley of hidden snakes that sprung from her sleeves. The snakes raced towards the spy at such an amazing speed that he was caught by surprise and could not guard against them. Sinking their teeth into his skin, they latched on both his wrists and ankles in crocodile-like vices. Anko pulled the spy towards her using the snakes, then freed one of her arms of the snakes to grab hold of a kunai. The shadow could not stop the momentum of the pull as he flew towards Anko headfirst, who had the kunai ready to impale him. Anko made a stab at his chest, but the ninja snatched the wrist in midair before it could reach him. He then put his other hand on her shoulder and used her as a base to make a complete flip over her. While in midair, the spy took out a kunai of his own and sliced off the other snake's vices from his body. The shadow quickly went on the counterattack, launching several shurikens at Anko, but she easily deflected the throwing stars with her weapon. She charged forward and started preparing a jutsu with hand signs. However, the shadow already had another jutsu prepped up. Katon, Gokakyu no Jutsu. Cupping his hand around his mouth, he puffed out a large sphere of flames at Anko. Futon Senpatashin no Jutsu. The shadow was once again caught off guard as Anko burst through the fireball with her arms out in front and spinning inside a violent wind that dispersed the flames. She closed the distance quickly and slashed at the spy's face. He almost pulled his head back in time, but she just managed to slit the cheek of his mask. Anko followed through her spin and executed a roundhouse kick that completely connected with the shadow's face. The kick sent him flying into the air and smashed him into the trunk of a tree. Anko took advantage of the opposing ninja's disorientation to prepare another jutsu. Carrying a small stack of explosive seals in her palm, she held it in front of her face. She shouted, Futon, Daitopa. A gigantic blast of wind launched at the shadow, carrying the seals with it. He brought his arms up to block the jutsu, but the powerful force completely knocked him off his feet. He was sent flying and shattered the tree that was behind him. The seals exploded a moment later, burying him in the flames. Anko stared at the rumble where the ninja was, ready to attack if he had survived her jutsu. I didn't hold back on him at all. He shouldn't be able to stand after all that, Anko thought. Eventually the shadow slowly pulled himself out of the rumble, albeit beaten, burned, and cut up. His mask had shattered and revealed the face of a blue-eyed man with blonde spiky hair. The average female would say that it would be an understatement to call this man only good-looking. In contrast to his dashing, handsome young face, however, were the cold, hardened eyes of a deadly predator. That is what Anko thought as she took in his appearance. There was also one other thing about the man that she couldn't quite put her finger on. He looked almost familiar. Who are you? What village are you from? Anko demanded of the man. The man didn't answer immediately as he dusted himself off. He wiped a line of blood from his lip. No one. Just a ghost, he said in an emotionless monotone. Anko scoffed. Typical shinobi answer. I'll make you tell me before I kill you. The shadow shook his head. The real fight's about to begin. Anko couldn't help but smirk. Who was this guy kidding? She had pretty much wiped the floor with him in round 1. A real fight, huh? You mean that wasn't all you had? The man narrowed his eyes for a moment until a small smile suddenly lit up onto his features. You caught me off guard. You fight so much like Orochimaru, it's disgusting. Anko's eyes widened and dropped her stance slightly. What? Katon, Gakaku no Jutsu. Before Anko knew it, a stream of fire was racing at her, leaving her with little time to do anything besides curse out, shit. A green blur blazed through the forest with an insane amount of speed. To the naked eye it would seem as if a sudden hurricane had struck the forest. Guy glanced behind him as he sped to the first exam point. As I expected, only those two can keep up with me. I can sense them, just barely. Grinning, he thought, that's my Lee. Naruto looked ahead, tracing any signs of Guy or other teams with his senses while he and Gaara leapt from branch to branch across the forest. Looks like there's 3 teams ahead of us, he thought. He glanced behind him. We're not going that fast, so there's probably 2 more teams that are nearby somewhere as well. Once we get the emeralds, we should be able to go full speed after that dash. Naruto halted suddenly, with Gaara following suit, and narrowed his eyes at the trail behind them. After sharing a look with Gaara and exchanging a few hand signs, they both nodded. A spiral of red sand swirled around Gaara and he seemingly vanished into thin air. Forming a seal, Naruto said Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. In a puff of smoke, a Gaara clone appeared. Naruto and the clone stood out in the open and waited. After a while, Naruto shouted out, "We know you're there. There's no point in hiding any longer." Silence met his call. "We've let you follow us for long enough," Naruto stated. Naruto waited. Nothing immediately happened after calling out the ninjas. Thinking back to the Chunin exam, had he been in the same situation, the ninjas there would have immediately came out and rushed him foolishly. Unfortunately, it didn't seem these opponents were that weak. Then not a second after that thought, a volley of daggers and shuriken burst forth at Naruto and the Gaara clone from the trees above him. Both of them easily sidestepped, having sensed the attack long before the weapons reached them. However, immediately after doing so, 2 throwing stars with wire attached to them shot out from behind. The stars curved around them in a long arc before whipping around and entrapping them tightly together in the wire. Naruto and the clone made no visible signs of struggle and simply stood there. Their 2 attackers finally revealed themselves and leapt out from hiding. One was holding the wire while the other out in front held up a pair of knives ready to finish the job. Both wore the symbol of the Amigekure on their forehead protectors. The attackers offered no arrogant expressions or words and only looked at them with a cool stare as they closed in on them. "This is the end," the one holding the knives stated. Naruto shook his head from behind the mask. "No." He raised an eyebrow. "No?" "Goodbye," Naruto said calmly. Before the rain ninjas could say anything, 2 gigantic red hands of sand sprung forth from beneath and completely engulfed them. The red sand was a special type of sand that was not only stronger than normal sand but faster as well. The hands held them up in the air in a death grip, nearly crushing their bones. Where? One of the rain ninjas managed to mutter out. Naruto dismissed his clone as the real Gaara slowly appeared from the ground that had melted into sand. He stared at his captives for a moment, deciding something, then raised his hand up into the air and said as he closed his hand into a fist, "Sabaku Shaoshin." Both men shuddered violently, their eyes rolling up into the heads, then dropped lifelessly. Gaara let hands of sand disperse and the limp bodies fell to the ground. That technique almost looked like a whisper came from the bushes. Normally, no one but the Speak would have heard it, but Naruto's keen ears did. "Come out right now," Naruto shouted suddenly, surprising Gaara. Gaara looked in the direction that Naruto was speaking to. "If you try to run, I will kill you." A female figure came into view. Hesitantly, she approached Gaara, who caught himself taking a startled step backwards. "Chigara?" Temari asked cautiously. She took another step closer to him. "You're Gaara, aren't you?" Gaara didn't answer immediately. "No." He started past Temari without looking her way. A hand latched onto his cloak, stopping him. "I know it's you," Temari said, her voice slowly sounding more assured of herself. Though he was mostly covered by his cloak and mask, he still had his signature features that she recognized, the character written onto his mask and his large gourd of sand, though now painted a blood red. His red hair was still short, though he had grown physically since she had last seen him. While not towering over her, he was no longer a head shorter than her, and was now a good inch taller. "Where have been in the past 3 years? What did Akatsuki do with you? And why didn't you contact us and tell us you were alive?" The words came out half jumbled as she was frantically asking all the questions at once. Gaara said nothing as he did not know how to reply. Temari stepped in front of Gaara and slowly raised her hand towards his face. Gaara didn't move as she removed the mask. Gaara's face looked like just how she expected it would. He appeared pretty much same, only older. But there was something more than that. There seemed to be something different in Gaara's eyes that differed drastically from the old Gaara. Temari knew what it was. It was that cold bloodlust he had constantly harbored. The look that made you afraid of looking at him the wrong way or face his wrath. That look, that psychotic fierceness, was nowhere to be seen in her younger brother's eyes. Though the physical mask was off, Gaara still had a cold, stoic expression on his features. He still seemed unsure of what to make of all this. As Temari was gathering her thoughts, deep, buried emotions caused Gaara to speak out first. "And? What is it you want now that you know it is me?" His chilling tone in which he spoke surprised even himself. However, he could not forget his past nor his old feelings that were beginning to surface. What? Why do you care about where I have been in the past 3 years? Gaara asked. Since when did it matter to you whether I lived or died? Oh, of course it matters, and why shouldn't I care? You're my younger brother. Family, Temari said, angry at the accusation. Gaara scoffed in disgust. Family? That word means nothing to me. It was family that put a demon inside of me. It was family that tried to kill me as a child while pretending to care for me. It was family that ignored and ran away from me when I wanted to be with them. Gaara became angrier with each passing word. He clenched his fist tightly. We couldn't help it, Temari defended. You were always glaring at us like you were going to murder us. And you know how out of control your power was as a child. That's because that was the only way I could get you to pay attention to me. It wasn't until I used force did family finally look at me, even if it was with fear in their eyes. At the last statement, his force lowered to only a quiet murmur. Temari could no longer find the words to defend herself. Her knees collapsed from beneath her, and she fell to the ground with a soft sob. I am sorry. Sorry, Gaara shouted. Do you think that will? Gaara. Gaara felt a hand on his shoulder. Looking beside him, he saw Naruto, unmasked, who had been quietly watching the scene unfold. The young man stepped in front of Gaara. That's enough, isn't it? Naruto asked softly while glancing at the girl crying to herself on the ground. As Gaara stared at Temari, he felt a slight piercing in his chest but quickly ignored it. Stay out of this, he stopped in mid-sentence, as he was taken by surprise when Naruto pressed his forehead softly against his. Family isn't always bad, is it? Naruto asked, his eyes closed. After all, me and you were family, aren't we? His eyes opened and a small smile crossed his face. Brothers. Ever since that time, remember? The anger gradually drained from Gaara's eyes as he nodded. I remember. Naruto lifted his forehead and moved beside him. There had to be some good times with your family, right? Even if there weren't that many. Gaara's eyes moved to the ground and recalled the past. I remember when I was younger, Temari used to watch me when she thought I was asleep. Temari pulled her head up in surprise. I could never truly sleep back then because of Shikaku. Some part of me was always conscious, Gaara stated. At first I thought it was because she was thinking about killing me in my sleep, but one time, I remember I was having a nightmare. It was a bad nightmare, and I must have been crying in my sleep. That's when I felt someone take me in their arms and cradle me gently. Whenever I had those nightmares, that person always seemed to be there to comfort and calm me. And make them go away, make the demons go away, a boy cried. Sure, it's alright, I won't let them hurt you. It's alright now. Gaara finally looked up from the ground to Temari. That was you, wasn't it? Temari cast her gaze away, her cheeks colored with a light blush, and nodded. You always looked so harmless in your sleep, I could forget that you had a tailed beast inside you. She stood up and looked at Gaara hesitantly. Gaara, I'm sorry. I know that change won't change the past, but I hope you'll forgive me. I forgive you. Temari smiled, and without a second thought she wrapped her arms around him in a fierce hug. Thank you? Gaara stood there, accepting the embrace, but speechless and confused as he had no idea of what to say or do in such a situation. Cautiously at first, his arms came up to wrap themselves around Temari, returning the hug. A small smile crept up onto Gaara's face. This feels good, he thought. Abruptly, he blinked in surprise as he felt a wetness slide down his cheeks. I'm crying? Why am I crying? Because you're happy, Gaara, Naruto said, smiling. Oh, I see. And that was all that was said for a long while. After a comfortable silence, Gaara and Temari released each other. Temari was the first to speak up again. What happened to you after you were kidnapped? What did Akatsuki do to you? They trained me. They taught me how to control my powers and become stronger. I have been with them for the past 3 years now, Gaara said. Though I was at first with them against my will, I am now a part of them of my own free will. I have no regrets. Gaara stared at Temari in the eye. Temari, I have no intention of going back to Suna. I see. Temari looked down for a moment before raising her head with small shake. It doesn't matter. You're alive. Her gaze then changed to Naruto with a curious, slightly cautious expression. Who is he? Temari took the time to fully analyze the stranger before her for the first time. Her attention had been so focused on Gaara that she had almost forgotten about his presence. The man was handsome, there was no doubting that, but that wasn't what she was looking at. What garnered her attention were his sharp, long nails, which she found odd, and particularly the whisker-like markings on his cheeks. She couldn't quite put her finger on it, but the markings reminded her of someone. There was also one other thing: his eyes. They were bright yellow with slitted pupils, like an animal. They were almost frightening. When she had first been discovered by the man, she caught a glimpse of his eyes through his mask. The fear she felt then was similar to the fear that surfaced when she looked into the eyes of Gaara when he loses control of his power, the sensation of being pierced by a predator's eyes right before he devoured you. However, as she peered deeper into the man's eyes, she could tell that they were now different, as if she was no longer deemed a threat by him. There was no bloodlust in eyes. Only the hint of a dull sadness remained. You're staring, Naruto stated. Temari blinked and flushed slightly as she turned away her eyes. Sorry. I believe you met him before during the Chunin exams, Gaara said. His name is Naruto. He fought with me when we attacked Konoha. Temari's eyes widened. You're that kid? Now that she knew who he was. It was true that he resembled the hyperactive boy from so long ago. Naruto nodded in acknowledgement. Geez, I can't believe that brat turned out like this, she thought in shock. He looks so Temari shook her head furiously, an embarrassed expression on her face. Looks aside, I'm surprised he turned out to be so reserved. I wonder what happened to him, she thought. Out loud, she asked, why is he with you? Like me, he was also kidnapped by Akatsuki 3 years ago, Gaara began explaining. He is now my partner in this mission. This mission? Temari asked, eyebrow raised. Why are you here at the Jounin exam anyways? What exactly are you two doing here? Gaara and Naruto exchanged glances. Both appeared to be thinking rather seriously until Naruto shook his head with a small, helpless smile. I'll go with whatever you decide, Gaara. Gaara closed his eyes, smiled slightly, and nodded. Temari looked back and forth between the two, confused. I feel like I'm missing something here. What exactly happened between these two during those 3 years? The Gaara I knew wouldn't have acted this friendly towards anyone, including myself and Kankuro. Gaara's expression became serious as he turned back to Temari and said in a stern tone, Temari, you and Kankuro must leave the Konoha vicinity immediately. What? Why? Because you are in danger. I can't go into further detail. And so you expect me and Kankuro to abandon the exams just like that? With no explanation? Gaara nodded. Yes. It's for the best. Her eyes shot open. You must be joking, Temari said in an outburst. For one, we'd be a disgrace to everyone in Suna if we just got up and left. It doesn't matter because the exam is going to be cancelled. Again, Temari looked confused. What? By who? By us. Temari's eyes widened. What? You can't be serious? There are bigger things happening here than you and me, Temari, Gaara said. You will be danger if you stay here. Temari narrowed her eyes. I can take care of myself. I am one of the representatives for Suna after all. They did not choose me for nothing. Besides, I'm not going to leave you, not after just finding out you're alive. No. You must leave. It's too dangerous, Gaara said, not budging. I am a ninja, damn it! Temari shouted angrily. I won't let you throw me away like this. Temari glared at Gaara. Gaara glared back and prepared a retort. He was surprised at how much resistance Temari was displaying, even if he was being a bit forceful. He had been so used to having Temari, and Kankuro, follow his every word without a single word of disobedience before. He had expected it to be same. Inwardly, Temari herself was also surprised. It seemed so much more easier to think of this new Gaara as simply her younger brother, rather than a boy containing a demon. She had no idea what it was or why she had lost that fear of him. Perhaps it was because she had not seen him for over 3 years and that her feelings about him had changed over time. She had thought she lost him once, and she wouldn't risk losing him again. Naruto stepped in between the two and held up his hands. Calm down, calm down. How about we let Temari and Kankuro accompany us? That way we can protect. I don't need anyone to protect me, Temari immediately cut in. Watch over them, Naruto finished. No, Gaara replied. Naruto sighed. If Temari wants to stay here, there's not much we can do about it anyways. Where is Kankuro, Temari? Naruto asked her. Temari thought for a moment. Well, we said that we would meet around over there, she said, pointing southeast. Since we had lost the trail, we had been following the tracks of 2 other teams, but they went in different directions a little while back. About 30 minutes ago, I think. Naruto looked off in the southeast direction before turning to his partner. Gaara, take Temari and get Kankuro. Southeast is the direction opposite of where the exam is. We don't have time to go and come back to get an emerald without risking being passed by too many teams. I will go and pick both us up 2 emeralds. We'll meet back at the dead trees, right before the bridge, south of here, on the west side. If any team possesses an emerald, they must pass through that point because that's the quickest route back. Although she was surprised that Naruto had come up with a plan so quickly, she said, that plan is ridiculous. Do you really think you'll be able to just waltz in there and take the emeralds without being killed by the other teams? Yes. I don't like relying on you, Temari said blatantly. Why don't you just come with us, then we'll go get the gems together. It can't take that long. At least, not enough for the other teams to pass us. Naruto shook his head. Before the fight with the AIM ninja, there were 3 teams ahead of us. I'm sure that at least 3 other teams have passed us since then. What? That many already? Yeah. Naruto turned away from them in the direction of the emeralds. I move faster alone anyways. I'll be back. He was about to leave, but he paused abruptly. He stood contemplating something for a moment, before he said one last thing. Though I doubt this will happen, Naruto began, his back facing them, as a last resort, if 5 teams have already passed, and I'm still not back yet, then just stop the other teams and take their emerald. I'll meet back with you guys at Konoha. And with that, he vanished. Will he really be able to do it? Temari asked after a moment. He will. I have no doubts. But then why did he say the last part? If he doesn't get back in time? Temari asked. Gaara stared off into Naruto's direction. I have a feeling that is because if he meets a person out there, he will go out of his way to kill him. Gaara added a thought to himself, although that's not supposed to be part of the plan, Naruto. I hope you know what you're doing. 2 ninjas, bruised and bloodied, glared at each other from a distance while they both took in haggard breaths of exhaustion. Both were still in fighting stances, kunai in hand. The 2 enemies grinned at each other simultaneously. From the looks on their faces, it seemed as if they were enjoying their brutal fight to the death. In a way, they were, both on their own terms. However, the fight was beginning to stretch out dangerously long, and they knew it would have to end soon. In appearance, they both seemed to be equally battered with numerous cuts and burns scattered throughout their figures. But they both thought. Enko grinned. The shadow frowned. I need to do something soon. I'm running low on chakra and I can tell she still has a lot more left than me. I never thought I'd have to resort to using it. I had no idea that she was this strong. Enko broke the silence. As fun as this is, I'm going to have to end it soon. Last chance to give up. She received no answer. Fine, then let's finish this. The surroundings of Konoha was a serene, peaceful landscape. It was a secluded place, like many ninja villages, but had any average person stumble upon this place, they would not suspect that the inhabitants were members of the Dark Society. That was the kind of place Konoha was, and it fit the village's namesake perfectly. The birds chirped, the deers frolicked, and the sun shone down brightly upon the hidden village. No one would have guessed that a furious battle was taking place only a dozen miles out from the main village. Crouching, Enko hit her palms on the ground and shouted, Sanai Jashu. The shadow peered at the ground in front of him suspiciously, and decided to leap up onto a tree behind him. Using chakra to stick his feet onto the trunk and hang horizontally, he said to her, the same trick won't work on me twice, no matter the variation. Enko didn't reply, only grinning, and dashed forward with a windmill shuriken in one hand. As she increased her speed, she began spinning the windmill shuriken. The shadow started to push off from his current position, but 2 snakes suddenly burst forth from out the tree and latched his ankles. Hey, it was fun while it lasted, Enko said, closing in. The shadow watched the woman close in on him for his impending death until a grin of his own appeared. He held out his hand to the side and called out, Rasengan. A spinning, blue sphere of hissing chakra immediately appeared in his palm. Enko's eyes widened as she was unable to stop her flight in midair. Gritting her teeth, she glared at him with a determined stare. Forming seals with one hand, she cried out, Katan, Kakafisha no Jutsu. and the spinning windmill ignited into flames. She held out the windmill as far in front of herself as she could. The shadow pushed off from the tree with all his strength, uprooting the snakes, and flew at her, his spinning chakra sphere held out. Anko ascended towards the shadow with a grim determination and hoped to at least displace her opponent's chakra attack. But as she glared at the man, something within her cone of vision caught her eye. She wasn't sure, but she thought she saw something behind the shadow. As she got closer and closer to the shadow, the object was made clear. Eyes widening in both fear and surprising, she stared into the eyes of another man. Gold-slitted eyes. The look on Anko's face must have been crystal clear, for the shadow's eyes also widened as he too realized that there was someone behind him. Everything seemed to go in an agonizing slow motion after that. Orochimaru, Anko thought, amazed. A man that should have been dead a dozen times over came forth from behind her opponent with his neck stretched out like a snake, and his fangs bared. His eyes were not on her but on the neck of the shadow ninja. Is he going to? Just as it seemed his fangs were about to pierce the shadow's neck, Orochimaru stopped and looked up at, his eyes smiling. Anko growled at the provoke, furious. I won't let him make another victim, not ever again. Without another thought, she threw her blazing windmill at Orochimaru. The windmill zipped by the shadow and raced towards Orochimaru, but, as if expecting the attack, he easily swerved his neck sideways and dodged. I knew you would do that, he said with a grin. Orochimaru shoved the shadow ninja out of his way, knocking him aside, and went straight for Anko, who was completely defenseless. Anko drew in a sharp gasp as she felt Orochimaru's teeth sink into the nape of her neck. Though not fast enough to stop his bite, she quickly shoved Orochimaru off her and back flipped to the ground. She clutched her bleeding wound with her hand and rounded on Orochimaru. What did you do to me? Orochimaru smirked knowingly. Just a little gift from me for neglecting you for so long. What the hell is that supposed to mean, you bastard? Anko shouted. Orochimaru, the two turned their attention towards the shadow, who appeared furious. The hell do you think you're doing? This isn't part of the plan. My, no need to get so mad, Naruto-kun, he said, chuckling. I would think you would appreciate my help. What? Did he say Naruto? Anko thought to herself. Help? Don't give me that, I know what you were about to do to me, Naruto growled dangerously. And you know as well as I do that your curse won't work on me. Or will it? Orochimaru asked, not expecting an answer. We never tried. After all, your chakra is still connected to your other body, isn't it, Naruto-kun? Naruto had no rebuttal for that because he honestly wasn't sure either. What the hell is going on here? Anko demanded, looking back and forth between Orochimaru and Naruto. Looking at the shadow ninja with new eyes, she studied him more precisely. Blonde, spiky hair, sky blue eyes. Although the trademark whiskers were nowhere to be seen, there was no doubt that he resembled a boy she once knew. If I remember correctly, he was Sasuke and Sakura's teammate. The thought was suddenly cut off as an unbearable pain throbbed from her cursed seal. She was unable to stifle a cry of pain. Naruto looked at Anko confused before glaring back Orochimaru. What did you do to her? Does it matter, Naruto-kun? You were going to kill her after all. And I still am. She knows too much now. You're not even supposed to be here, Naruto argued. Orochimaru shook his head, unconcerned. It doesn't matter. She is mine now. Naruto narrowed his eyes at Orochimaru, who looked back with his disgusting, arrogant grin. Naruto's eyes moved to glance at Anko out of the corner of his vision. Whatever pain she had apparently been feeling was gone now, for she stood back up again, ready to fight. He looked back at Orochimaru, but with his hands up, forming seals. Katon, Gakkaku no Jutsu! The ball of flames shot forth, and struck the ground in between them. The flames from the chakra attack scattered quickly, separating the three. Anko looked at Naruto, surprised, and he returned the look with a harsh stare. It was a glare that clearly stated, this isn't over yet. Then he leapt off. Anko figured she'd better do the same and followed suit. As she ran, she could hear the laughter of Orochimaru echoing throughout the forest. She clenched her fist. That bastard. What did he do to me? And what about that other guy? Could that be the same Naruto from years ago? I need to get back to Tsunade-sama and report all of this. Her strength abruptly began to leave her body, making her collapse to the ground. Wa! Was the last word she got before she lost consciousness. Naruto surveyed the open area before. The area had a large, wide radius that stretched at least a quarter of a mile. In the center was a small, rocky hill that jutted out from the ground, and there lay the emeralds. At first glance, it didn't appear that there were that many, and digging deeper into the hill would take time, which was dangerous. Scattered around the hill were a few dead bodies, as expected. Once you stepped into the plains where the hill was, there was no cover at all. He made a small, minor note in his head what villages they were from, 2 from waterfall and 1 from stone, then took a moment and closed his eyes. Naruto found early in training, after making the deal with Kurama, that it was easier to enhance the animal-like senses he had inherited by cutting off his vision as it helped him focus. He stretched his senses in search of any other ninja around, for which he was sure there was. The Emerald Hill was quite obviously a death trap, and any intelligent ninja would know that. He heard nothing but the soft wisp of wind and the brush of leaves. Wait, Naruto thought. Pushing his hearing to the limit, he listened more carefully. It was faint, almost inaudible, but it was there. The breathing of a human being. It was mildly haggard, and it appeared the ninja had trouble breathing. Sniffing the air lightly, he caught a very faint scent of blood. The man's breathing was become more erratic by the second. He's getting anxious. He must be hurt badly. Naruto pulled out a kunai. He's going to make his move soon. Just as Naruto predicted, the ninja burst out from the trees and into the open area, making a mad dash for the Emerald Hill. Naruto caught a glimpse of his headband. He was from stone. That meant his teammate was dead. The ninja from stone quickly snatched an emerald out of the rocky hill and ran back to cover as fast as he possibly could. Naruto watched all this patiently until the ninja reached the forest, then he leapt off the branch and began tailing the stone ninja. Naruto held his kunai in front of him and increased his speed. Now! Naruto leapt out at the stone ninja, intent on pouncing. As he did so, however, directly across from him, on the other side of the stone ninja, there was another Chunin who had apparently the same plan as Naruto. All 3 of the ninja's eyes widened in surprise. The stone ninja was first react as he was in between both of them. He leapt towards the other ninja that had appeared, who immediately responded and slashed out at him with a claw-like hand. The stone ninja blocked the attack and kicked both feet into the man's chest, using him as leverage to push off. As soon as the stone ninja landed onto the ground, he quickly began the seals for a jutsu. Doton, Enmaku Sakuretsu no Jutsu. Raising his fist into the air, he brought it down with all his might and smashed into the ground, resulting in a grand explosion of dirt. Naruto held up forearm in front of his mask to furious dust storm that kicked up. When the dust dissipated, only he and his would-be accomplice remained. The blonde ninja narrowed his eyes, peering at the new adversary before him. Kiba. Naruto and Kiba quickly glanced in the direction where they could both sense the man had gone, and then back towards each other. TCH, Kiba muttered after a tense moment. Turning his body to face Naruto completely, Kiba got into a stance, claws outward, and grinned. Looks like it's just me and you, pal. Naruto raised an eyebrow behind his mask. You're not going to go after him? Hey, don't worry about him. It's me you gotta fight right now. Kiba volleyed several ninja stars at Naruto and rushed him. Pressing his palms together, Kiba executed a jutsu as Naruto dodged his projectiles. Gijia Ninpu, Shikyaku no Jutsu. As Kiba's speed drastically increased, he began running on all 4s. Before Naruto knew it, Kiba was already on him and hurried to block the incoming attack. He managed to catch the punch in one hand, but the second swipe nicked the front of his chest, shredding his shirt and cloak partially. Deja vu, Naruto thought. But something's missing, that's right. His dog. He quickly glanced at the surroundings but found Kiba's canine companion nowhere to be seen. Tsuga. Kiba shot at Naruto like a whirlwind bullet. Naruto, taken by surprise, crossed his arms in an X, blocking it, and was shoved aside by the power of the attack. I wouldn't look away if I were you, Kiba commented, smirking. If you even blink, I'll shred you before you even realize it. Naruto said nothing in return, but did narrow his eyes. He's gotten a lot faster, I'll give him that. He readied himself for a counter-attack, forming a seal. Kagabun. Tsuga. Kiba came at him again, faster than expected, and Naruto was unable to complete the jutsu. He leapt to the aside, then jumped up over of another Tsuga as Kiba doubled back. Only as he was in midair did he realize his mistake too late. The third Tsuga shot straight up at him, too fast for him to dodge while in midair. Naruto was forced to take the blow and block with his arms to minimize the damage. He quickly landed on his feet though and tried his jutsu once again. Kaga. Tsuga. The result was the same, and Naruto was forced to halt in mid-sentence to elude Kiba's taijutsu. The blonde ninja clenched his teeth, frustrated. That's it. A faint red chakra momentarily surrounded Naruto as he embedded his body with Kyuubi's energy. Holding out his hand, the Konoha ninja gestured towards Naruto arrogantly. Ha, alright, let's see what you got. Tsuga. At the same time Kiba launched, Naruto shot forward to meet him. The two collided. With all his senses enhanced, Naruto could see Kiba's Tsuga with a crystal clarity. He met and parried each and every single one of the ninja's slashes. They eventually blew past one another, but Naruto had managed to lock down the Tsuga. Kiba growled at Naruto. Humph. Let's try that again, Tsuga. They clashed again. And again. And again. To an average person, it would seem as if two blurs were bouncing off each other at an incredible speed. Then at last, the stalemate was broken. The next time they met, Naruto twirled his torso around a swipe and countered with a fierce punch into Kiba's cheek. Naruto's knuckles met his jaw, grinding against one another until the kinetic energy of the fist vaulted Kiba out of midair and pummeled him into the dirt below. It took a moment before an angry Kiba gradually emerged from out of the rumble. "Want to try that again?" Naruto asked mockingly. Kiba glared at him. Damn it, the Tsuga alone isn't gonna be enough. As he thought, Kiba's grin slowly returned. Getting on all fours, he charged Naruto and prepared his taijutsu once more. Tsuga! Naruto dashed forward to meet him, but his target had other plans. Kiba flew right past Naruto without even touching him. Naruto looked back at Kiba, confused, who was still grinning back at him. Just as Naruto was returning to the ground, a dog burst forth out of nowhere and chomped onto his shoulder viciously. He groaned out in pain and hastily shook off the dog. The dog took the throw in stride and landed on his feet beside Kiba. Hee hee, good job, Akamaru. Kiba congratulated, patting the dog on the head. Damn, I had forgotten about that stupid dog, Naruto thought, glaring at the beast who growled back at him. Akamaru had grown since Naruto had last seen him. The dog now appeared to be a young adult, his height reaching just past Kiba's waist. But I thought I told you to stay with Hinata? Kiba asked his companion. The dog shook its head and barked a couple times. She said she could take care of him herself and sent you back to help me? Alright, I hope Hinata can handle that guy, huh? Oh yeah, you're right, Akamaru. She can take care of herself, and that guy was injured anyways. Kiba turned to Naruto with a victorious smirk. It's over now. Let's wipe the floor of this guy, right Akam, huh? What's wrong? Akamaru's growling was abnormally intense at Naruto, who was clutching his shoulder with his hand. The animal seemed completely fixated on him. Akamaru? Akamaru! The dog finally snapped out his trance and started barking words to Kiba. After a few seconds, Kiba's head snapped from his dog to Naruto with wide-open eyes full of shock. No way, that can't be him, Akamaru. There's no way in hell that guy is Naruto. A sea of dead bodies surrounded a single teenage boy who stood alone in the macabre chaos. Bleeding and breathing heavily, he struggled to keep standing and forced his weight to lean on both knees. The boy was startled when one of the seemingly dead bodies suddenly latched onto his ankle desperately. The downed man glared at the young teen with a furious hatred. I won't let you touch our village, a sickening crunch cut into the man's final words. The young man removed his foot from the dead man's neck and stared down at the body with unreadable eyes. Why do they fight so fiercely for this tiny village of theirs? These people don't stand a chance in hell against us, but they keep fighting. I don't get it. Images, unwillingly, began appearing in his head. Images of people he once knew, from a village he once lived in a time that he could never go back to. It all seemed like so long ago, but in reality, it really wasn't. How much he had changed in such a short amount of time. Abruptly, his senses began to go off incessantly, alarming him. He quickly looked up and peered into the misty distance. A line of shadows were just barely visible, but there. Damn it! On the other side of the mist, the soldiers marched. One man stood above the rest, atop of a decorated horse. The demon was around here somewhere. It was. A distraught man told the general. The general raised an eyebrow. Are you certain it wasn't an illusion? The scout shook his head vigorously. And no. I'm positive. That demon fox had slaughtered everyone, he said, his voice barely a whisper. His eyes appeared haunted as he retold his tale of horror. We didn't stand a chance. The general nodded solemnly. I see. Prepare yourselves, men. It appears our enemy has made a deal with the devil, but we will not give in. Aye. The soldiers behind him resounded in a cheer. They continued deeper into the valley. The area was oddly silent, with only the clank of the soldiers' armor and footsteps to be heard. The general's horse gave a squeal suddenly, halting in its trot. The general narrowed his eyes. Get ready, men. Weapons drawn, they stood anxiously awaiting their enemy. A long, uneasy moment passed. Then they appeared. The soldiers could not help but gasp in shock and fear at the sight before them. A grand army that nearly matched their own in numbers faded out of the mist. That was not the shocking part, however. What surprised them was the frightening fact that every single ninja of the opposing army seemed to be an identical replica of one another. A one-man army of hundreds. No way, Kiba uttered in disbelief, shaking his head. That can't be him, Akamaru, there's no way in hell that guy is Naruto. It's true that this guy smells a lot like Naruto, from what I can remember, Kiba thought. But it's still not the same. How can this guy be the same Naruto I knew? And his scent, even though it's similar, it's also different somehow, it smells more like some kind of animal, or something. Kiba shook his head and looked up at blonde-haired ninja. Naruto? Is that you? Kiba asked, sounding hopeful. A smile came upon his features. It's me, Kiba. The young man in question did not reply, just stood there, silent. Naruto? Answer me, damn it! Kiba yelled, becoming angry. At least tell me you're not him. Naruto ignored the question and instead formed a seal. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. An identical masked clone appeared beside Naruto in a puff of smoke. Naruto's favorite move, Kiba whispered. Fine. If you won't tell me who you are, he took out 2 pills, I'll make you tell me. Come on, Akamaru. Then popped one in Akamaru's mouth and one into his own. The change was near instant. Akamaru grew slightly in size and his fur became a reddish burgundy while Kiba's pupils dilated. Immediately after, Akamaru transformed and took the form of Kiba. Both pulled back their arms simultaneously and charged up. Gutsuga! The Narutos leapt forward to meet the 2 Kibas, and they collided in midair. Kiba clenched his teeth tight as he struggled to fend off Naruto. He quickly glanced over to his left to see if Akamaru had disposed of the clone, but what he found amazed him. The clone was physically blocking attacks but not disappearing after getting hit. What the? The clone matched each of Akamaru's slashes and then countered, delivering a fierce kick into Akamaru's chest. The dog smacked into the ground, causing him to revert back to his normal form. Naruto took advantage of Kiba's distracted attention and managed to get a strike and past his defenses. Kiba reeled back as he took a fierce punch into his jaw and barely managed to land on his feet. What the hell kind of clone is that? Kiba thought, wiping the blood from his lip. Normally clones can't take much damage before vanishing, but Naruto's was exchanging blow for blow with Akamaru. What's going on? While Kiba was contemplating this, Naruto gestured to his clone. The clone nodded and charged at the 2 while Naruto quickly formed a sequence of seals. Doton, Doria Kajiri no Jutsu. Naruto called out, and stamped his foot onto the ground. The ground beneath Kiba and Akamaru transformed into a gigantic spike that nearly pierced both of them, but they were quick enough to avoid it. However, Kiba soon found himself faced with Naruto's clone and could not avoid his attack. Damn, Kiba thought. The battle progressed with Naruto clearly having the upper hand. In terms of straightforward taijutsu, the 2 were easily outmatched for 2 reasons. Not only were the Narutos physically faster, but they also displayed an incredible amount of teamwork that surpassed even he and Akamaru. It was as if they were of one mind but 2 bodies. Kiba, on one knee, breathed heavily. This isn't good. Beside him, Akamaru began barking angrily. Kiba clenched his teeth and replied, I know. I know if we don't go all out then we're. Kiba glanced at Naruto, who calmly stared back. I still don't know if you're really Naruto or not, but you leave me no choice. Standing up, Kiba got into a fighting stance. Let's do it, Akamaru. His canine barked in acknowledgement, and the 2 leapt up into the air. Inazuka Ryu Jinju Hench. Concentrating his chakra, he focused it into a fine stream that began to mix into Akamaru's own. Satoru! Naruto carefully studied the drooling, gigantic beast before him, analyzing his next move. Close combat was now out of the option as the 2-headed wolf was nearly 4 times his size and probably easily outmatched him in strength. He had no idea how fast this newly transformed Kiba was. Naruto bit into his thumb, drawing blood. A summoning jutsu? I don't think so. Satoru quickly turned into a vicious spinning whirlwind, tearing up the ground beneath, and shot off towards the Narutos. Garuga! The beast howled. Naruto's eyes widened as he and his clone found themselves nearly face to face with the spinning chakra of Satoru before they could even react. Wah! Satoru pummeled into Naruto's clone, instantly obliterating him into a puff of smoke. TCH, wrong one. We should have marked the real one more time, Akamaru. The enormous spinning whirlwind raced at Naruto at a frightening speed, but he had already formed a series of seals. Doton, Doria Hiki! He shouted, smashing his palms onto the ground. A towering earth wall rose up in front of Naruto as a result, matching the wolf beast in height. That won't stop us. Satoru met the wall and pierced through it like a drill with little resistance. The wall shattered into pieces, revealing a shocked Naruto. It's over, Kiba thought. Though Naruto tried as best he could to dodge, he was still caught in the wide range of the Garuga. The razor-sharp whirlwinds tore into the flesh of his lower abdomen, spewing blood everywhere. Landing, the corners of Satoru's monstrous mouth twitched upwards into a victorious smirk as they looked at the result of their attack. Even an indirect hit from the Garuga can still do incredible damage. Naruto, struggling to stand, was gasping for air while he clutched his bloody, torn-up wound. Kiba and Akamaru transformed out of the Satura form and back to normal. Give it up. It's over, Kiba stated, walking over to Naruto. Now tell me if you're Naruto. A shadow covered Naruto's face as he looked down towards the ground, winded and injured. What does it matter if I am or not? Huh! What the hell are you talking about, idiot? Kiba shouted. If you are, then we shouldn't be fighting. We're both from Konoha and we Konoha ninja always look out for each other. Like that time the 5 of us went out to get Sasuke back, don't you remember? Naruto's breath slowed, calming. I do. Then why are you still fighting me? Kiba yelled out, angry. Don't use that Konoha excuse. Eh? Why? A chuckle suddenly erupted out of Naruto, startling Kiba. Because licking the blood from his lip, he slowly looked up into Kiba's eyes with a piercing glare. His mouth formed into a dark smile. He began to stand up and his mask fell off. Konoha. What? Kiba said, stunned. With the mask off, the face was unmistakably that of Naruto, and yet those words, this can't be Naruto. No way. Konoha, they've always despised and hated me. Did you know I was kidnapped before when I was a kid? Naruto didn't wait for Kiba to answer. Or did you know one of more caretakers tried to strangle me in my sleep? Or that I used to be bullied and beat up? At that time, I didn't know why all this was happening to me, but I know why now, of course. I never belonged in Konoha. Do you think they would have sent ninjas to rescue me, had I left the village like Sasuke, their precious Uchiha genius? Oh, of course. Bullshit, Naruto coldly replied. They would have sent ninjas for me, alright. A good excuse to get rid of a dangerous demon like me. No way. Godane would have sent a rescue team for sure, Kiba argued. And they would have killed me anyways. Well, what about us? What about me, Shikamaru, Niji, and Chuji? What about your old team, Sasuke and Sakura? Do you hate us too? Weren't we your friends? Is this for real? You've been at the academy for 3 years and you still can't transform properly? Ha. You all just watch, I'm going to the Hokage one day. Are you stupid? You. Hokage? Ha. Friends? Of course you weren't my friends. He cried out furiously, causing Kiba to unconsciously take a step back. Emotions long buried rose up from the depths of his mind. Anger, hatred, despair, the 3 emotions that had helped motivate him to become stronger over the last 3 years. You of all people should know that. Don't lie to me, you never once thought of me as your friend, he spat venomously. Back at the academy, you ridiculed me along with everyone else. It was only when I beat you did your view of me change, but even then I was just someone to defeat so you could have your pride back. A rival at best, but never a friend. Naruto spat out a chunk of blood. You got your answer. I am Naruto, but you'll never live to tell anyone. Jibakukage Kujeki. The characters for suicide appeared on Naruto's forehead, glowing a crimson light. He rushed into Kiba, hands in a seal, with a sickening grin on his face. What? Kiba's eyes widened, immediately realizing what was about to happen. See you in hell. Kankuro coughed uncomfortably. The silence between the 3 family members was rather unsettling. Gaara's reunion with Kankuro had been awkward at best, with no tears of happiness nor heartwarming welcoming. A gasp of shock at first, a nervous yo, and then came the undeniable hint of fear visible in Kankuro's eyes when he looked at Gaara. Gaara looked away, sighing. I suppose this is what I should have expected. He's lived his entire life in fear of me, why would that change now? Oi, Temari, are you sure we can trust that kid Naruto to do it by himself? Kankuro asked, completely avoiding looking in Gaara's direction. Temari shrugged. I'm not sure. He will do it. Naruto will come back with 2 emeralds for us, Gaara stated in tone that left no room for argument. Kankuro laughed nervously. Yeah, of course, Gaara. Gaara's brows furrowed. After a moment, he stood up from his seat. Going for a walk, I'll be back. Okay, Temari said. Kankuro and Temari watched Gaara walk off until he no longer in sight. Temari immediately turned to Kankuro. What's with you, Kankuro? Why are you acting so weird? Me, the weird one? Kankuro replied with an incredulous look. Well, excuse me if I can't just welcome back our psycho brother like nothing happened. He's not psycho. Just misunderstood. Kankuro rolled his eyes. Right, whatever. Temari walked up to Kankuro and grabbed his collar angrily. Look, you jackass, he's changed. He admits that he was a little messed up back then, and we didn't exactly help by being a caring family. A little. Temari, he killed our uncle when he was like 6 years old. Temari narrowed her eyes. You know that Gaara was only defending himself, Kankuro. What's really going on? Even back then you never acted this scared of Gaara. Kankuro looked away uncomfortably, avoiding Temari's interrogating eyes. Well? Temari, it's like staring at a damn ghost every time I see him. Do you know how many times I wished he would just die and never come back then? Kankuro asked. And then one day he's gone. My wish came true. Temari, what was first reaction when they told us Gaara had been kidnapped? And don't bullshit me. Temari released his collar and gazed away, ashamed. I'm confused at first and maybe just a little happy after that. Exactly. And the first thing I thought when Gaara showed up again was that he had come back to kill me, as if he knew that I had wished he was dead. Kankuro finished, exasperated. Hell, how do I know he still won't? We should get the hell out of here before he... Kankuro. Temari cut in. I told you he's changed. I can tell. We still have a mission to do, represent Sand and achieve Jounin rank. And I'm staying here to complete it. But you heard Gaara. They're going to ruin the exam anyways, and it's damned obvious that it's going to be more than just that. It's just like 3 years ago all over again when we attacked Konoha. I know, but I'm not just going to get up and run away just like that. Temari crossed her arms. If you want to run, go ahead, I won't stop you. But I'm staying here, with Gaara, the brother I haven't seen in 3 years. God damn it, Temari! Kankuro shouted angrily. Fine. If you want to stick around to see if he kills you, then see if I care. 'Cause I won't. I'm out of here. With that, Kankuro took off into the forest and disappeared. Temari stared in Kankuro's direction with sad eyes. Kankuro. She sat in silence, alone, for a long while. Some brush near her started shuffling suddenly, catching her attention. Kankuro? It was not Kankuro that revealed himself, but Gaara who emerged from the bushes. Oh, it's you, Gaara. As she saw Gaara looking around the area, obviously searching for Kankuro, she looked towards the ground. Kankuro, he left. I don't think he's coming back. I know. Temari looked up, surprised and shocked. Why, you mean you heard us talking? Gaara looked off into the distance. No, I just figured he would do something like that. It was obvious from the way he looked at me. Oh, Gaara, I'm sorry, Temari murmured apologetically. He shook his head. I understand. It's better this way. He won't get involved now. Gaara Temari clenched her fist, glaring in the last direction Kankuro was, and thought, damn it, Kankuro. Huh? What happened? The eyes of Kiba opened gradually as he awoke. While as he oriented himself, the memories of just moments before came to in a flash, causing his expression to become solemn. That's right, Naruto, he. You got your answer. I am Naruto, but you'll never live to tell anyone. Jibakukage Kujeki. The characters for suicide appeared on Naruto's forehead, glowing a crimson light. He rushed into Kiba, hands in a seal, with a sickening grin on his face. What? Kiba's eyes widened, immediately realizing what was about to happen. See you in hell. A grand explosion of fire and light lit up the surrounding area. Am I dead? Kiba exclaimed. He quickly felt himself, checking for any injuries. He ran his hand over his chest and flinched. Ouch. He looked at his hand and saw that it was covered in blood and black ash. I'm alive? But how? There's no way I could have survived that explosion from that close up. Kiba stood up and looked around. His eyes came upon Akamaru, lying on the ground with his fur soaked in blood. Akamaru. He ran over to his canine companion. The dog was in horrible shape, his breath a mere wheeze and his body heavy damaged. Kiba knelt down and cradled Akamaru's head in his arms. Why, you jumped in front of me at the last second, didn't you, boy? Akamaru's eyes were closed, and he was barely remaining conscious. This is bad, Kiba thought, looking at the wound on Akamaru with slight panic. These are third-degree burns and it goes deep. If I don't do something quick, Akamaru will. I have to hand it to you, that dog is loyal, isn't he? Kiba's eyes widened at the sound of the voice. No, it can't be. Slowly, he turned around and stared at the source of the voice with shocked eyes that refused to believe the reality in front of them. I saw you die. Naruto stood before Kiba with only the scratches from the Tsuga and Akamaru's bite marring his body. Other than that, he appeared to be in far better shape than Kiba. You saw my shadow clone die. What? That's impossible. We destroyed the clone. You did, Naruto agreed. But I made another one. After I used the Dorihiki, I made another clone from behind the wall and hid. Naruto smiled darkly. It's too bad though, looks like Akamaru's courageous act was all for nothing. You bastard! I'll kill you for hurting Akamaru! Kiba screamed, making a jump at Naruto. Naruto started to leap forward to meet Kiba, but just out of the corner of his eye, he saw a kunai flying straight at him and had to dodge. Kiba-kun! Are you alright? Kiba turned to the familiar voice, surprised. Hinata? There Hinata was, standing before Naruto just as he remembered. Her soft, timid features apparent though mixed with a quiet, yet prominent fierceness caused by the heat of battle. Her body had evolved into the form of an athletic, but petite young woman. Her dark blue hair was also longer, and now draped down her back. Kiba quickly whipped around to see what Naruto's reaction was, but he had already re-equipped the Hunter Nin mask. Kiba-kun? Oh, why yeah, I'm fine, Kiba said, somewhat nervous and distracted. He couldn't help but think about what Naruto was going to do. Would he reveal himself to Hinata? What are you going to do, Naruto? Hinata took a moment to glance at the enemy ninja. The young man wasn't looking in her direction at all for some reason. She blinked in confusion when realized that her heart had abruptly quickened its pace. Why is my heart beating so fast? Could it be that she couldn't help but tremble at the incredible power she felt emitting from the unknown ninja? It was true that an enormous power radiated about him like a violent torrent, a force that had momentarily overwhelmed her when she first stepped onto the battlefield. The strength was animalistic, a mysterious beastly chakra that she had never felt before, not even from Kiba, a ninja who was very much in touch with his inner beast. For some reason though, a part of her told her that it wasn't fear that was causing the odd sensation, making her body tremble. It was something different. There was something very nostalgic about this unknown ninja. Though she couldn't see his face, there was something about the hair and chakra that was very familiar. Kiba's voice snapped her out of her daze. Hinata! Can you please help save Akamaru? He's injured badly. I don't know what to do. Hinata's eyes found Akamaru's motionless body and gasped. She quickly ran over and began treating the dog's injuries. Oh no! What happened to him? Kiba glared at Naruto hatefully. It's this bastard's fault. I'm gonna kill him! He shouted out, forming a seal. Gijia Ninpu, Mukotsum no Jutsu. An aura of chakra appeared around Kiba's claw-like hands. With a burst of speed, he charged at Naruto and struck at his face. Naruto hopped backwards and quite easily dodged by a lengthy distance. Naruto opened his mouth to say something, but stopped, surprised, as he realized his mask had been grazed by the passing blow. But I was at least a foot away from him, how? Naruto thought as he dodged another slash. While retreating backwards, Naruto peered behind Kiba at the spot he had just been. He noticed that the tree that had been near him was covered in slash marks. This time he was sure that he wasn't at all close enough to that tree for Kiba's slashes to be marked so deeply in the bark. I get it, his claws must be wrapped in an invisible chakra. The chakra blades stretch much longer than what the visible aura actually shows, Naruto thought. Naruto cast a quick glance at Hinata, who was busy tending to Akamaru. Hinata. Anko dreamt. Orochimaru-sama. The young man in question looked up from his book and glanced over his shoulder to the girl bouncing his way. HM? Can you teach me a jutsu today? The young girl pleaded, her eyes wide with hope. I'm afraid not, I'm rather busy. She twisted in her feverish sleep, sweat dripping down the sides of her forehead. Why am I dreaming of this? Oh, come on, Orochimaru-sama. Maybe tomorrow. Please. For now, go study on your own. You don't need my help. But. Orochimaru sighed, rubbing his brow in slight irritation. The girl was become a bother as of late, interrupting him during nearly all his free time. She had even discovered where he lived somehow. Anko, it's time you stop being so pampered. If you're always relying on someone, then you'll never accomplish anything on your own. You'll never get stronger. The girl flinched slightly, but argued. But Kayato-sensei says that you're supposed to rely on your teammate, and your teammate relies on you. Together, you are each other's strength. That's what makes Konoha ninjas strong, he said. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes. That is an excuse for the weak. If you are strong, you don't need to rely on anyone. Konoha ninjas are not strong, they are weak. What? Nothing. Forget what I said, Orochimaru said with a shake of his head. I was merely talking to myself. No, Anko said, hesitantly at first, then more firmly. I think I understand Orochimaru-sama. If we're always relying on someone, then what are we gonna do when we're alone? I believe in anything Orochimaru-sama says. Orochimaru blinked at the girl's statement. Interesting, he thought. A smile slowly crept up onto his features. You catch on quickly. Very well, as a reward, I will teach you a jutsu. It is a very strong jutsu, but also very dangerous to learn. Are you prepared? Of course, Orochimaru-sama. Good. First you. The next day, Orochimaru sat in the same spot, quietly studying on numerous things. Orochimaru-sama. Orochimaru looked up and was genuinely surprised to see Anko standing there in front of him. She was battered, covered in blood, and clutching an arm that was twisted in an awkward, unnatural position. She's alive? I did it. She managed to get out before falling to the ground. That's impossible. There's no way she could have completed the jutsu. Orochimaru made his way over to fallen girl and knelt down beside her. Anko's half-open eyes beamed up at him. I am going to become strong, she coughed, and blood sprayed everywhere. I'll like Orochimaru-sama no matter what. Anko's eyes cracked open. Why, she said groggily in a dazed, almost drugged-like state. She tried to sit up but her body refused to do so. What's happening to me? With all her strength, she lifted up her hand that seemed to weigh 100 pounds heavier. Her eyes widened with shock when she saw that her entire arm was covered in the curved black flame markings of the heaven seal. The flames glowed with a fluorescent purple haze and the shapes were beginning to twist and morph into something else. Almost fearfully, she twisted her head to examine her curse seal on the nape of the neck. It's changing, she gasped. The 3 curved tear-like markings had become 3 straight diamond shapes. What did he do to me? She croaked. A sudden surge of pain surged throughout her body, causing her to scream out in agony. Unable to take the pain any longer, she slipped back into unconsciousness. Some distance away, a pair of cool, calculating eyes watched. Hinata stared intently at her handiwork on Akamaru with a critical eye. After a long moment, she let out the breath she hadn't known she was holding and wiped the sweat from her brow. With this, hopefully Akamaru will pull through her task complete, she focused her attention to the 2 ninjas fighting. Kiba's expression worried her. Something had happened between Kiba and this ninja, but she couldn't figure out what. Who is he? She shook her head. Now was not the time to wondering about such things, her teammate needed her help. Hinata waited until Naruto's back was turned to her, then charged in, armed in the Juken stance. She struck at Naruto, but he had somehow caught her presence and expected the attack, allowing him to easily swat the blow aside. He was about to turn on Hinata, but Kiba quickly got in his face. Your opponent is me! Kiba yelled out and slashed in between Hinata and Naruto. Naruto retreated a few hops back and peered his 2 opponents. Hinata, stay out of this, Kiba said to her, coming off more angry than he had meant to be, but his eyes softened slightly. Please, Hinata, leave him to me. This guy, he's really dangerous. I don't want you getting hurt, he said, but thought, that's an excuse. Please, Hinata, don't get involved. Hinata looked like she was about to say something but thought otherwise and nodded. This is the first time I have ever seen Kiba-kun so serious, she thought. Is his Akamaru going to be alright? Kiba asked hesitantly. Hinata bit her lower lip. I've done all I can, but I think so. For now. It was true that she prolonged an immediate death, but what she didn't want to tell him was that it was about a 50-50 chance of his survival through the night. He didn't need to know that right now, it would distract him from the fight and make him lose focus. Are you sure you're going to be alright? This man, as she glanced at him, and was surprised to see him looking at her for the first time. Their eyes made contact. For a split second, Hinata saw past his invisible mask and a gate opened. Pain, sadness, suffering. That is what Hinata saw. They were mixed with other, more complex feelings that Hinata didn't quite know what to make of. There were so many layers, so many different facets, in the depths of this man's eyes. Eyes that seemed to tell her he was not quite a man, but more like a boy forced to grow up, so much like someone she knew. Lightning seemed to strike her at that moment, and it all came together. Her first assumptions were true. She had not met this boy before. Not this side of him. Naruto-kun? Hinata cried out, surprising Kiba. Naruto's eyes widened. A variety of emotions crossed Hinata's features all at once. Shock became confusion, confusion turned to hopefulness, and finally that hope became a hesitant joy. It is you, isn't it, Naruto-kun? Naruto tried to control his emotions and not let her tender voice get to him. She slowly, almost shyly made her way to Naruto with timid steps and an anxious heart. She stopped when she was just a few feet in front of him. Are you Naruto? Naruto looked Hinata back in the eyes, unable to break his gaze away, for she held it down with a wide-eyed, helpless expression that wrung at his heart. I am. Finding it impossible to keep up the facade, he took off his mask to reveal an anxious, uncertain expression. A full-fledged smile broke out, and Hinata threw her arms around Naruto's neck, bringing him into a fierce hug while tears flowed freely down her cheeks. We thought you were dead. In her heartfelt joy, her mind forgot the tentative situation they were in. It took a moment before Naruto returned the embrace, his arms wrapping around the small of her back and curling around her hair. His expression remained the same though, still unsure of what to do. After all, the context for their meeting was not the best of circumstances. Hinata-chan. Why am I losing control like this? Naruto thought as hugged her. This isn't like me. I didn't even know her that well. But he could not ignore the feelings that were surfacing out of the depths of his heart, feelings that he had locked away in order to become stronger. A part of him answered. Because she was your only real friend. Hinata, the only person that never once looked down at him, that never saw him as anything except as just himself. She even told him that she admired him. Just that was enough for her to steal a place in his heart without even him knowing it. Kiba watched the two with wavering eyes, wishing he could look away, for his chest wrenched painfully at the sight. Hinata, he whispered warily. As her senses gradually returned to her, Hinata let go of Naruto, and the reality of the situation was forced upon her. Her smile faded into a worried frown. Why were you fighting Kiba-kun? Why did you hurt Akamaru? Naruto closed his eyes for a moment, looking away, before staring back at Hinata with a sad gaze. Hinata, I'm not the Naruto you once knew. What? Naruto of Konoha is gone, and he can't ever come back. I'm Naruto of Akatsuki now, enemy to Konoha. Hinata shook her head, confused and slightly frightened by what he was implicating. I don't understand. What do you mean, Naruto-kun? I can't be your friend anymore, Hinata. I'm sorry, he said in a strained tone. No, I don't understand. Why? She cried out. Can't you just come back and be part of Konoha again? There are so many people that miss you. I can't. Besides, that's just it, Hinata. There aren't people that miss me. You're the only one, he shouted back, full of emotion. I don't want to come back, I hate Konoha. Hinata stared intently into Naruto's eyes. Do you really think that, Naruto-kun? All the people you grew up with, your dream, everything, you can't mean that, Naruto-kun. He thought hard, back to his childhood memories, the beatings, the stares, the oppression, and tried to grasp upon them for strength, but those were not the memories that came to him. He saw himself at a young age standing in the hall with 3 other children. A teacher was looking down at them, angry and disapprovingly. It was Iruka, and he was berating them for not paying attention in class. The children, Naruto, Shikamaru, Chuji, and Kiba, all listened half-heartedly with bored, impatient expressions. Finally, Naruto couldn't take it anymore, and he jumped out the window while sticking his tongue out at Iruka. The others grinned and followed suit with Iruka hot on their tails. He yelled his lungs out, commanding them to stop, but the children simply laughed to each other and kept on running. Naruto began to speak but was cut off as a kunai whipped by him, surprising all 3, Kiba included. Step away from him, Hinata. They looked up into the trees to see 2 Anbu staring down at them. One was unmasked. Kiba and Hinata both immediately recognized the unmasked Anbu. Shino! Step away from him, Hinata. They looked up into the trees to see 2 Anbu staring down at them. One was unmasked. Kiba and Hinata both immediately recognized the unmasked Anbu. Shino! Where did you come from? How come you're here? Kiba asked. We were patrolling the area to make sure no one cheated during the exam when we found you 2 fighting, Shino stated. He gazed at Naruto, who returned it with an even stare. Naruto Uzumaki, former ninja of Konoha, once thought dead 3 years ago. Please accompany us to the Hokage's office. Why? Because you are supposed to be dead, he replied in a monotone. However, since you are not, you are technically considered a missing ninja who are usually considered kill on sight. Your situation is complex and should be brought to the attention of the Hokage. Please accompany us to the administration office. No. His Anbu companion, who wore a cat mask, stepped forward angrily, kunai in hand. Who do you think you are, Jinchuriki? This isn't a request. Shino held up a hand in front of the other Anbu, signaling him to stop his tirade. He stopped reluctantly, but continued to glare at Naruto, anger clearly etched into his body language. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Shino spoke again. Naruto, we will not harm you if you comply with us. We will only escort you to the administrative offices so that the council can decide what to do with you. The cat mask ANBU appeared surprised by the offer. He leaned into Shino's ear and whispered, Captain, are you sure about this? He's a demon. Who knows what he'll do once he's there? Quiet, Shino commanded harshly. He glanced back at Naruto and found him glaring angrily at the two of them, fangs bared. Naruto had heard everything as a result of his keen hearing. I appreciate the offer, Shino, but I'm going to have to politely refuse, Naruto said aloud. After all, what difference is that going to make? He knew the council well from his childhood days. They had taken care of him during his younger years, if it could be called that. The council was the voice of Konoha, so in other words, they despised him along with everyone else. Yes, he knew well enough that if he let himself be escorted by the ANBU, they would discover that he was a member of Akatsuki and they would execute him, plain and simple. I knew it! The cat-masked ANBU shouted. He whipped out a radio and said to it, This is Cell 3. We need backup quickly from the nearest team. Stop! Shino said, angrily snatching the radio from the ANBU's hands. Be but Captain! Shino quickly looked over to Naruto and saw that he was completely tense with a vicious snare on his features. An escort is no longer possible, he thought solemnly. 2 more ANBUs soon arrived on the scene surprisingly fast. What is it? What's wrong? One of the new ANBU asked. The others noted the presence of Kiba, Hinata, and Naruto. One blinked as his eyes came to Naruto. That guy, who is that guy? It's Kyubi, the cat mask ANBU replied. The bastard that killed my parents. Kyubi, they gasped. I thought he was dead. That demon killed my father too. All of you quiet. Shino watched Naruto with cautious eyes and saw that the damage had already been done. This is bad, he thought. Naruto clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. Nothing's changed, I'll never be just Naruto to them, he whispered. The young Akatsuki ninja began shaking his head, chuckling quietly to himself, which then turned into full-blown laughter. His audience tensed up at his crazed cackle. Hinata looked at him with a worried gaze. Naruto-kun? She made a step towards him, but Kiba grabbed her sleeve and pulled her back. She looked at Kiba and saw that he was shaking his head no at her. Actually, Shino, I changed my mind, Naruto said, a smile on his face. I'll go with you back to Konoha to see the council. I have a surprise for them. If they hated me when Kyubi sealed, how much more would they hate me after I summon him, huh? Everyone gasped at the implication. Since Naruto had been thought dead, it became common knowledge that Naruto had been the container for Kyubi. Why, you monster! I'll kill you! One of the ANBU leapt at Naruto, soon followed by the other 2 ANBU. Before they reached him, Naruto executed a series of seals, a smirk still on his face. Biju, Kitsunika no Jutsu. An enormous firestorm exploded from Naruto, completely engulfing the 3 ANBU in the blazing inferno. Shino, Kiba, and Hinata all stared in amazement at the jutsu from a distance, for even they could feel the deadly heat. The ANBU were blown away to the ground from the force of the explosion, and they screamed in agony as the fire ate at their skin. Biju? Tailed beast? What power? Kiba thought as he shielded himself with his arms. As Shino watched his comrades, his eyes narrowed as he made a realization. Wait, the bugs are still. Just as quickly as the flames appeared, the fire abruptly vanished without a trace, as if it had never started. The 3 masked ANBU stopped their screaming and looked around, confused. Genjutsu! They exclaimed. The Konoha ninja hastily reoriented themselves and turned to Naruto to see that he had already summoned 3 shadow clones. All 4 of the Narutos charged at Shino and his ANBU squad. Split up into your teams, Shino commanded to them. They nodded, and the ANBU split up into 2 pairs as they defended against the Narutos. The Narutos easily outmatched the ANBU in taijutsu, and it took them everything they had to defend themselves, leaving no room for counterattacks. Ah! One of the ANBU cried out in pain suddenly, falling to the ground, which left him completely defenseless against one of Naruto's shadow clone. The bird-masked ANBU saw this and tried to help him. Katan Jiga! A piercing shock surged throughout his body, halting him in mid-jutsu as soon as he called upon his chakra. The real Naruto, who was facing Shino at the moment, glanced at the 2 ANBU, a victorious glint in his eyes. That jutsu isn't any normal genjutsu. At close range, it temporarily scars your chakra points, resulting in incredible pain and paralyzing you if you tried to summon your chakra. While the two ANBU were left immobile, the shadow clones took advantage of the situation and simultaneously called out Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu. The ball of fire exploded upon impact, igniting the helpless ninjas into flames. The Naruto clones followed up on the jutsu and threw a volley of kunais at the ninjas, impaling them repeatedly. The two writhed on the ground like worms until their suffering slowly came to an end and fell limp, bodies still aflame. The surviving Konoha ninja stared in horror at the agonizing deaths of the two ANBU. Kiba, Hinata, and Shino were all thinking the same thing at that moment. Naruto really was serious. He was willing to kill a Konoha ninja. Koji, regroup, Shino called the other ANBU. The cat-masked ANBU nodded and retreated to him. He really did it, Kiba thought, surprised. He glanced over to Hinata and saw that she was clutching her chest and staring at Naruto with sad eyes. Damn it, Naruto! Can't you see that hurting, Hinata? If you can't, then I'll make you. And Naruto-kun, she whispered. A grunt near her caught Hinata's attention, and she turned to Kiba, who had his hand on a thick, red spot on his jacket. He was about to leap into the battlefield. Kiba-kun! You're hurt! She rushed over to him. It's nothing, just a little scratch Naruto gave me, Kiba said, flashing a grin at her. Mentally, he thought on a grim note, actually it hurts like hell. It's taking me everything I got, plus another soldier pill, to keep me from falling to the floor. Hinata lifted Kiba's hand, examining the wound. This is bad. You need to lie down. Kiba shook his head. I can't. Not now. He glanced at the fight, then back at Hinata. Hinata, I'm going to stop Naruto. Before she could say anything, he held up a finger, shushing her. I don't know if I can, but I'm sure as hell not going to give up. I'm going to give it everything I got to help Shino stop Naruto before it's too late. He gave her another smile before rushing headfirst into the fray. Giji Ninpu, Mukotsu no Jutsu. Hinata gazed at the battle with conflicting emotions. On one hand, she wanted to cheer on her former teammates and join them in battle, but on the other, the person they were fighting was Naruto. What should I do? Shino-kun, Kiba-kun, Naruto-kun. You look worried. Gaara started at Temari, surprised that his emotions were so apparent. It took him a moment to gather his thoughts into words. Naruto, he may be in trouble. Temari's brow furrowed. I knew we shouldn't have went with his plan. Going off by himself to get 2 emeralds is too reckless. Gaara shook his head. It's not that. It's just at the time I didn't think about it, but right now, Naruto can only fight at 1/3 of his power. What? What do you mean? He has the Kagurikan Katsu no Jutsu active, Gaara began explaining. It's a skill that only people with 2 different chakras can do, like Naruto. An enhanced version of the Kage Bunshin technique. It allows you to split your chakra into a completely separate body, on the molecular level, for long periods of time. But since his chakra is split, that also means none of the bodies can use their full power. Normally that isn't a problem because they usually stay together, but we lost the shadow some time before the Jounin exam started. Hopefully the shadow is still alive, but if he's dead, it will take Naruto a couple days to fully regain his power. Temari contemplated all of this with thoughtful expression. What should we do then? If we don't pass the first part of the exam, completing the mission will become difficult, he thought. Gaara looked off north, in the direction of the Emerald Hill. Naruto, what were you thinking when you went off alone, you idiot? You must have known your limitations. Gaara shook his head to himself. I should have known better. Although he said otherwise, coming back to Konoha has affected him after all. But he's been waiting 3 years for this day. I don't believe that he will let anything stop him after getting this far. He turned to Temari. We wait. There's nothing else we can do. And also. Gaara reached behind him to pull off the cork of his oversized gourd and peered into the dense forest with a dangerous glint. 5 teams have passed us, and the 6th is approaching quickly. The ANBU captain glanced at his allies. Kiba was currently pulling himself out of a pile of rumble, while Koji had become paralyzed after touching his chakra and was trying to shake himself free. Turning to Naruto, Shino pulled out a couple of white balls that were covered in an odd glue and flung them at him. Naruto raised an eyebrow when the balls came nowhere near him, but instead stuck themselves to the trees around him. Koken Jugo no Jutsu. Shino yelled out and smacked his hands together. The balls exploded, letting out a black swarm of insects that ambushed Naruto and encased him in a black pile. Buseki Tsum. Naruto came spinning upwards out of the swarm, arms extended, as he immediately countered and tore apart the bugs. Shino continued his attack, launching 3 more projectiles attached with explosive seals at the Akatsuki ninja. Naruto leapt off to the side, attempting to dodge, but was shocked when the objects curved in midair, tracing his movement. Naruto peered closer at the objects and discovered that the projectiles were actually insects. Acting quickly, he threw a bundle of shuriken at the bugs. The ninja stars sliced through them before they could reach him, and 3 explosions boomed seconds later, forcing Naruto to cover behind a tree. He let out a slow breath and took the moment to recover. His ear twitched suddenly at a soft buzzing sound. "They're coming right at me." Naruto hastily jumped away from his hiding spot that exploded just half a breath later. "You cannot hide from the Hataru Bakudan," Shino commented. "The insects are attracted to the scent emitting from the bug I planted on you." "TCH," Naruto scoffed to himself. He leapt out from his cover and dove straight at Shino, his claws out. "Who said anything about hiding?" With a battle cry, Naruto shoved his claw into the stunned Shino's stomach. "Shino!" Hinata and Kiba yelled out. Surprisingly, Shino did not utter a single cry of pain. Instead, he grabbed onto Naruto's arm in a robotic motion and held it there. The illusion melted slightly, displaying Shino's stomach transformed into hundreds of tiny bugs that were all biting into Naruto's arm. "A clone!" Frantically, he struggled to pull his arm out and slashed at Shino's face in order to get free. The slash ripped through Shino's flesh, revealing that his face was composed of a plethora of insects all compacted together. The genjutsu dispelled, Naruto destroyed the clone with a few more slashes. He held up his arm, touching the deep, purple bruises that encircled his skin, and flinched in pain. "I would suggest you give up, Naruto," Shino said to Naruto. "Those bugs poisonous. Though the poison is not normally deadly, from that many bites a normal person would die within less than an hour." "Humph. You don't really think I'd die from poison, do you?" Naruto said, scoffing. He glanced at the bruise. Feeling had completely left the area, making it numb from the elbow down. However, he could still move it regardless. The power of Kurama's healing chakra was strong, and he could feel it already combating with the parasites. "I should be fine for now," Naruto thought. "The NBU should be pulling out of it right about now." He turned toward Koji. "Hiya!" Koji screamed, breaking free of the paralyze at last. "I won't give up that." A gurgle of blood from his own mouth cut off his words. Horrified, he looked down to see Naruto's claw piercing into his flesh. Naruto removed his claw from the NBU's stomach, letting the man flop down to the ground, lifeless. His eyes rose to Kiba and Shino in a cold, predatory stare. "Damn it!" Kiba cursed out. "Naruto-kun, please stop it!" Hinata cried out. "Hinata, you don't understand. Can't you see that it's not possible for me to do that?" Naruto thought sadly. "I've come too far to go back now." Over the course of the fight, Naruto's resolve had strengthened itself into a solid firmness. Demon, devil child, Kyubi. Those words brought him back to the mindset he had trained in for the last 3 years. "I am the weapon of Akatsuki now. I won't stop until Konoha feels my pain." Naruto didn't look in her direction as he spoke up. "I told you, Hinata, Konoha is my enemy now. Please, Naruto-kun. Stop before it's too late." "I can't, I won't." Please, tears slowly welled up in her eyes. Why couldn't he stop? Why wouldn't he? How did Naruto change into this man who had no hesitation or qualms to killing? What happened to those kind, soft sky blue eyes of his that always seemed to wash away all of her worries and doubts? She was unable to hold back the tears that began streaming down her cheeks. "And Naruto-kun." Kibas clenched his fist tightly, a furious anger boiling up within him as he saw Hinata breaking down. Blood began to fill his hand as his own claws pierced his flesh. "Naruto," you came out in a low growl. "I will stop you even if it kills me." Naruto didn't miss a beat. "Maybe I will." The taunt was the last straw, and something in Kiba finally snapped. "I'll kill you!" He screamed and charged at Naruto with a crazed look in his eyes. His claws were glowing with the chakra of the Mukotsu no Jutsu. Naruto gazed solemnly at Kiba. "This is the path I have chosen, there's no turning back now." His expression became a vicious glare, and he held out his palm. "Rasengan!" Shino watched the whirling sphere of chakra appear in Naruto's hand while Kiba rushed at him, blind with rage. Even from his vantage point, Shino could see that Kiba's movement was sluggish and predictable, the effects of Kiba's wounds glaringly apparent. "Kiba, you fool!" Shino started running at full speed, intending to intercept Kiba and Naruto before the worst happened. "No, stop!" Hinata whispered, her eyes filled with dread and a dark, sickening ball forming in the pit of her stomach. With all her strength, Hinata cried out, "Stop!" Shino watched the whirling sphere of chakra appear in Naruto's hand while Kiba rushed at him, blind with rage. Even from his vantage point, Shino could see that Kiba's movement was sluggish and predictable, the effects of Kiba's wounds glaringly apparent. "Kiba, you fool!" Shino started running at full speed, intending to intercept Kiba and Naruto before the worst happened. No, stop, Hinata whispered, her eyes filled with dread and a dark, sickening ball forming in the pit of her stomach. With all her strength, Hinata cried out, "Stop!" But the cry was muffled by the heat of the battle, and only the enemy in front of them mattered. Kiba lunged at Naruto with a wild swing, but he ducked under Kiba's arm in a smooth motion, placing himself in a perfect pocket within his defenses. Kiba froze in fear and anticipation of the blow to come, but it never came. Instead, he saw Naruto strafe right past him, straight into a surprised Shino's face. Before Shino had any time to react, Naruto shoved the raging sphere of chakra straight into Shino's stomach, forcing out a scream of pain. The ball tore into Shino for the most agonizing, painful 3 seconds he had ever experienced before vaulting him several meters into the air and finally crashing him into the ground. Kiba stared at Shino's motionless body in horror. "No, Shino! Shino Kun!" Hinata, tears in her eyes, quickly rushed over to the fallen ANBU captain and glanced at the shallow indent in his stomach. The large gash was dark red and oddly, half of the blood seemed to be black, mixed with swirls of crimson. Cautiously, she picked at the odd substance that she knew was foreign to Shino's body and examined it closely. 2 and 2 came together in her head. Her eyes went back to the wound, and something that had missed her eye earlier caught her attention. Further from the contact point of the jutsu were numerous bugs, smashed and burned, but recognizable. Her hand went to Shino's neck, checking his vital signs. They were faint, but there. A relieved look crossed her features and she let out her breath. It looks like Shino's bugs formed some sort of armor around him right before it hit. Thank goodness. Naruto stared down at his hand that was shaking viciously. "I can only handle one more." He closed his eyes in concentration and gathered his chakra in his palm once more. Rasengan! Kiba, amazed at the incredible power of the Rasengan, stood fearfully in a defensive stance as he awaited Naruto's second coming. Naruto began stalking toward him slowly, Rasengan in hand. "Naruto-kun!" Naruto halted momentarily, casting a glance sidelong at Hinata. Her eyes flinched slightly from his cold eyes at first, but she steeled herself and acquired a determined gaze. "You once told me that I should never give up. That I should always believe in myself," she said, her voice even and steady for once, none of the timidness apparent from earlier. "Naruto-kun, I won't give up on you. Won't you stop, please?" After a brief pause, Naruto shifted back to Kiba. "I'm sorry," he murmured. "I can't let you hurt Shino-kun or Kiba-kun anymore," Hinata said in a low tone. "I won't let you." "Don't look at her, Naruto," he commanded to himself. "Don't listen. Remember what they did. Remember their words. Remember your mission." His speed increased. "Get out of my way, Hinata." The words stung at her heart, cutting into her resolve temporarily, but she shook her head. "I have to stop him. For Kiba-kun and Shino-kun." The Rasengan dragging behind, Naruto burst into a full-out sprint at Kiba while Hinata moved herself in front of her partner defensively. She stared back at Naruto with a fierce determination. "Move!" he shouted at her. Hinata got into the Juken stance and shouted back, I won't give up on you, Naruto. Because..." The distance closed, and he was within feet of her. His arm shot forward. "This is my way of the ninja." Anko awoke. Her breathing was calmer now, more stable, and the worst of her fever had parted. As her vision cleared and focused gradually, she sat up to check her surroundings. Her eyes whipped behind her abruptly, locking onto an unknown figure behind her. The figure held up his hands defensively, smiling. "Hello, Anko-san," he said. "Glad to see you're all right. How are you feeling?" Anko stared at the man for a few seconds before deciding to ignore him and focus on her new predicament. She held up her hand slowly. She could feel it. It was already coursing through her body. Odd, I thought she was cursed with the heaven seal, but her seal is now shaped differently. What did Orochimaru-sama do, I wonder? Kabuto looked at her curiously. "Anko-san? Take me to him." Anko's voice was unusually steady, but an underlying tension could be sensed. "Now." Kabuto's usual fox-like smile returned and he nodded. "Follow me." They did not speak during their trip. Anko appeared to be in deep throughout most of the travel, and Kabuto did not offer up any words than was necessary. Inside Anko's mind, her thoughts went to memories from long ago. Why was it she was still afraid of the past? All that resided in her consciousness were the regrets and failures of times that she couldn't take back. Four ninjas rested on the ground of the battlefield, tired after a long excursion of training. The silver-haired ninja wiped his brow of sweat. "Phew, That was quite impressive, ladies. More than once my eternal rival and I were forced to the brink of defeat. Thanks, Guy, replied a crimson-eyed Kunoichi. Her eyes turned to glare at his companion. You can thank the great sexist pig ninja, Kakashi, for giving us the motivation. Damn straight, added her spiky-haired partner. I swear, if you read that damn Ika Paradise while fighting us again, a crack of the knuckles emphasized her point. Kakashi held up his hands defensively, fending off the female glares. Now, Anko, Kurenai. It couldn't be helped. Do you have any idea how rare this volume is? And I was just lucky enough to get it today. Kurenai was forced to hold back Anko from starting round 2. That new jutsu you used was amazing, Kakashi said, at least hoping to change the subject. Why don't you use it more often, Anko? Anko looked away and shrugged. Kakashi and Guy shared a knowing glance at her reaction, though Kurenai didn't seem to catch it. By the way, Anko-san, Kakashi and myself are going out to wine country for an S-class mission. We could use someone of your expertise, Guy said. Would you care to join us? Nah. When are you going to move forward, Anko? Guy immediately put his hand on Kakashi's shoulder. Oi, Kakashi, that was. Anko turned her back on them and started to walk away. Whatever. I don't care. Kurenai looked baffled at the sudden tension that had arisen. What was that about? Kakashi shook his head slightly, saying nothing. Guy and Kakashi knew about Anko's past because they were comrades during the Third Secret World War. Because Kurenai was not ranked high enough, her participation in the war was not as extensive. On the other hand, Anko, who was younger than all three of them, was considered a genius ninja during that time, the prodigy of the great Sannin Orochimaru. Quite often she tagged along with her Jounin sensei on his missions. They knew why Anko always acted the way she did, always holding herself back. We'll be there shortly, Kabuto announced. They continued deeper into the forest to their destination, Orochimaru's base camp. Temari! Gaara shouted out. He and Temari had set up a trap to stop the sixth team from passing. It almost worked, but the waterfall Chunins had trick up their sleeve by using holy water from their village, which increased their chakra by tenfold. Get off! Temari struggled in the grasp of her captor. The waterfall ninja grinned at Gaara while his kunai was pressed up against Temari's throat. The holy water we smuggled out of the village really came in handy. His partner grinned back. Yeah. Pointing his short sword at Gaara, he demanded, now give me back the emerald or she dies. Gaara growled at him and thought, damn it, I was careless. Are all waterfall ninja a bunch of spineless bandits? Pathetic. What? Who said that? They looked up into the forest canopy and could make out the shadow of a figure. There. Taking advantage of the distraction, Temari kicked her way out of her captor's grasp with a strong thrust. The unknown ninja smirked at them from above. Below, you fools. With a flick of his wrist, 2 human-sized puppets rose up from beneath the waterfall ninja and seized both of them into their wooden torsos. Shit! You're dead now, Kurohige Kiki Nihatsu. He shoved both of his palms closed, and the waterfall ninjas became nothing more than heaps of meat inside the spiked cages. Gaara and Temari stared up at their savior in surprise. Kankuro? You came back? Temari said. Kankuro glanced at Gaara, who looked back questioningly, before the puppet master gazed away, appearing to be almost embarrassed. Kankuro tried to play it off and only shrugged his shoulders. I don't like running away. Temari snorted. Yeah, right. Well, someone's got to keep an eye out for my reckless sister. I was gone for barely an hour. Look at the mess you wound up in, Kankuro quipped. Oh, shut up. Gaara let out a small smile at their antics. Kankuro turned back to Gaara hesitantly. Gaara, Good to see you've returned, Gaara said. Surprised at the lack of a verbal backlash, Kankuro scratched the back of his head awkwardly. Yeah? It's time, Gaara said. We're returning to Konoha. What? But what about that Naruto guy and your team's emerald? Temari asked. Gaara shook his head. Naruto will have to meet us at the battle stadium. I need to be there when second part of the exam starts. If we don't hurry, none of us will qualify. Let's go. This is my way of the ninja, Hinata cried out. In a fluid, swift motion she struck at Naruto's forearm and aimed specifically at the chakra points connecting to the hand. With amazing precision capable only with the Byakugan, she connected. Instantly the sphere of chakra dissipated, and just in time as Naruto's palm connected with Kiba's forehead. Kiba was launched into a tree, knocking him out. Before Naruto could do anything more, Hinata wrapped her arms Naruto as fiercely as she could and cried out, "Please no more." Naruto was silent, for he was shook up internally. He had been inches from killing Kiba, someone who he has known for a good part of his life. What would have happened if Hinata hadn't stopped him? Even with all the years of pent-up anger, is this vengeance what he truly desired? Deep down he was reminded of a certain raven-haired ninja whose revenge drove him to edge once. How was Naruto any different now? "No. This is what I wanted, right?" Naruto questioned himself. "I don't know," came his own uncertain answer. "Damn it." Hinata released Naruto, startled. "Naruto-kun?" She started cautiously. The young blonde avoided her gaze. He glanced at the unconscious Kiba and the fallen Anbu Shino. Finally his eyes rested on the anxious Hinata. "Hinata, you may have stopped me from doing something that I could have regretted, thank you." Hinata blushed slightly, nodding, but was uncertain of how to handle this Naruto. What should I say? He almost killed Kiba, but then it came to her. "You don't need to thank me. I only did what I knew you would have wanted me to do. This is my way of the ninja." He didn't reply. "Naruto-kun," she started, "you've taught me, and everyone around you, many things even if you didn't realize it. We were all inspired by your courage and honesty. That was your way of the ninja." "Hinata," Naruto stopped himself, shaking his head. "I have to go. And I'm going to borrow your emerald, sorry." Naruto cast one more sad glance at Hinata before starting away. "Naruto-kun!" Hinata called out as he retreated into the forest. She stared after his departing form. "Oh, Naruto." As Naruto blazed back to Konoha, there were many things going through Naruto's head. "Why did you not kill them?" suddenly demanded a dark, immense presence from the depths of young man's mind. The inner voice did not surprise Naruto. He knew that the tailed beast was always there, dwelling in the back of his mind like a ghost. During Naruto's times of solitude, the beast's presence could be almost comforting, though he would never admit it. While he did not always agree with the Kurama, the nine-tailed fox provided the much-needed guidance for the budding Akatsuki. For most of Naruto's life he never had anyone to advise him nor rely on but himself and his own strength. They didn't need to die. At this point, it doesn't matter if they know who I am or not, Naruto rationalized in his thoughts. They can't make it back in time. You did not kill them because you couldn't. What are you talking about? I killed those Anbu, didn't I? Did you not tell me that you were going to destroy these fools? That you despised every inch of this village? I do. I've waited 3 years for this day. I will make Konoha pay. And what of your old friends? What will you do when they come to stop you just as that girl did? I'll do what I have to do. What would he do? Honestly, Naruto wasn't sure. Konoha made his life a living hell for him, but should he make everyone else pay for the mistakes of another generation? Why shouldn't you? You know the truth of Konoha. They hated you, a child, with no remorse. The cowards needed to place blame somewhere. That is how humans are. Shut up already, Naruto growled. It disturbed him when Kyuubi read his thoughts. This isn't the time for this, Fox. So be it. Remember this though, Naruto, Konoha will not be as indecisive as you when the time comes. I know when the time comes, he will find the strength to do what was necessary. He had to. Gaara, Temari, and Kankuro made their way to the battle stadium and into the qualification office without further incident. Although they only had one emerald, Gaara chose to give his elder siblings the jewel. The decision confused the two sand ninja, further mystifying what it was exactly that their little brother was after. Or did Gaara simply have complete faith in his partner's ability to get back to the Konoha Stadium, emerald in hand? While their thoughts were on different things, all three couldn't help but feel an uneasy apprehension of déjà vu due to what they had just learned. Shortly after qualifying themselves, Kankuro pulled Gaara and Temari aside to a secluded alley outside the arena. Gaara, we need to talk. I think it's about time you tell us what the hell's going on here, Kankuro said, his voice taking a serious tone. Kankuro. Temari began, glaring at Kankuro, but he didn't back down. No, Temari, we need to know what we're getting ourselves into, Kankuro said. Temari thought to herself for a moment before slowly agreeing. He's right, I suppose. Gaara? Gaara looked at them both steadily before sighing in resignation. Very well. I will mask our conversation with Genjutsu. The eyes of the young Akatsuki became hard as steel. Listen carefully because I am going to say this once. The two exchanged an uneasy glance before nodding at Gaara. Our mission is to get into the secret chamber of Hokages and steal a certain scroll, Gaara stated. The room contains many powerful scrolls, special jutsus recorded by previous the Hokages, as well as other forbidden techniques. We are looking for one specific scroll that is a key ingredient needed in Akatsuki's ultimate plan. The scroll. Gaara paused and pointed towards the stadium. Is located deep underground, hidden beneath the battle arena. The stadium's true purpose is actually to protect and conceal the chamber of Hokages. The stadium is only open to the public a few times every year. Besides those times, it is completely sealed off and under heavy protection at all times. Soon after the matches start, 2 more of Akatsuki will join us while Orochimaru begins his coup d'état with the former root division of the Konoha military. Kankuro and Temari gasped. You're working with Orochimaru? Temari exclaimed. I thought he left Akatsuki? He did. We are only cooperating with him temporarily. A truce, not an alliance. But Gaara, that guy Kankuro started. Gaara held up his hand. I know of Orochimaru and his ways. Trust me. Though we don't know what Orochimaru is getting out of this, we are keeping a keen eye on his activities. It is unfortunate, but without his invasion as distraction, we wouldn't be able to steal the scroll. Not without fighting over half of Konoha's forces. I see, Temari said. Continuing with the battle plan, Gaara said, once it starts, they will cancel the exam and begin evacuating everyone. We will stay hidden inside the stadium and secure the area while we wait for the second team to arrive. A second team? Temari asked. From this Akatsuki? Gaara nodded, saying, they will be breaking in with Oto's main force. So basically, Kankuro started slowly, we're gonna be in the middle of a goddamn war while breaking into the treasure vault of the strongest military force in Fire Country? That's crazy. That is our mission. Without this scroll, Akatsuki cannot execute the final part of the plan, Gaara stated. Almost there, Naruto said to himself as Maid leapt from branch to branch in a blur. Without warning, he halted in his tracks suddenly and snapped his head to the west. Wait, I can almost sense yes. It's him. Forming a seal with one hand, Naruto used his chakra to send out a thought. Shadow. No answer. Shadow, he called out again. A doubtful moment passed. Shadow. Are you? Yes, I am here, came a faint answer. Naruto let out a small sigh of relief. Meet me at the east gate. It's time. Understood. Orochimaru-sama. A young Anko cried out. They stood alone, former pupil and teacher, on the outskirts of Konoha. In the distance the flames of a burning inferno filled the night sky with a crimson-red glow. Tears streamed down the girl's cheeks and her hands shook, barely able to maintain the grip on her kunai. Less than a week had passed since Orochimaru left her to rot in Sea Country. Her body had been poisoned by the fresh mark of Heaven's seal. He had offered her to come with him and leave Konoha, but she refused. He abandoned her without a second thought. The girl was left distraught and in a mess. It was only her hatred of Orochimaru that brought her out of her depression. Although she had not fully recovered, she immediately broke out of the hospital and